So, what's your opinion on the next set? Is there anything besides cooler that you would want to build?
Honestly, no. I'm very disappointed with the next set. I feel like it's significantly
Underpowered.
subpar and underpowered.
What about you,
Um,
Element?
Yeah, I think I'm on the same line. I don't, I don't, I'm not really hyped about it. Um, I think the most fun thing that has been shown but not really shown is the SCR that hasn't even been revealed, and I think that's the only reason why I was like, oh, maybe there's hope for the set, and then I don't know. It's not my cup of tea personally.
All right, so me and Charles have been talking about this. What's your opinion on this new Red Ribbon support that's coming out? I feel it's going to be subpar and very gimmicky.
I think it yeah, I think it relies I think it's a cool concept. I think they're trying to bring back that set to Frieza mechanic of like pop your dudes and gain value after you use them. Um but I don't know if because personally I play mainly black. I dabble in a little bit of red, so I'm not super knowledgeable when it comes to the arsenal that blue can play in that archetype specifically. The cards that have been revealed, they don't seem that impressive.
So, one thing I am interested in is seeing more androids in blue, because primarily we see mostly our androids in green, yellow, black, but now we're starting to see them in blue. Because I don't know if you guys saw today's spoilers or was it yesterday's?
I think
which
both days. Oh no, today it has the Android
the
tags.
4-drop crit guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
hmm
because we saw a little bit of blue with androids with Android 21, but other than that, not really a lot of blue androids.
I mean, recently we have. Well, I wouldn't say recently, but there's Android 16 as a blue leader as well, and then which is I mean, Jared Lopez has been doing ungodly things with that deck. That man is, he's a whole nother tier of Android blue player.
Been striking
Um,
fear on people.
the guy's a brainiac for sure.
Do you think that there
Uh,
will be an errata with the new Android support coming out that a lot of the Androids will be errata to Red Ribbon in their special trait?
I don't think so. No, I think they're gonna have a very small window of opportunity with this to where they're going to keep what they are making for Red Ribbon, and then going into maybe next sets after that, they'll add more Red Ribbon Army.
Well, I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with the trailers for Superhero, the brand new movie that's supposed to be coming out.
I have not actually.
Well, basically, by the looks of it, Red Ribbon's back, so we might be getting new support via that movie. So I can see Red Ribbon becoming a big character archetype in this set in the game, but other than that, I don't really see it being that competitive.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's really no way to know because if you look at like the trajectory that Bandai has had when it comes to other archetypes, um, there's been like so many other different like sets and different archetypes that have um, really not had a lot of support, and then out of nowhere, like they're just like huge on support all of a sudden. Like I don't know if that really makes sense, but like
Or break them into two parts. They've been breaking archetypes into two parts. That happened with um, what is it called? Uh, s- uh, Black Sin. Black
yeah,
Sin was in two parts. Finn, in a way, it's also two parts. Um, what other deck came out?
Sin Shenron, Yellow Sin Shenron came out.
Jello Sin. And I think Biriar is upstairs if
I
you
mean,
wanna
Okay,
didn't
yeah,
open
they
the
I'll-
open the
technically
door.
break U7 into 3 different categories?
Yo.
What's up, Riar?
Say that question again.
So, as I was saying, wasn't technically U7 separated into 3 different releases, like 3 different pushes?
But it was complete like three completely different decks though.
That is true because the new U7 is mostly just mono,
More, yeah.
while the other
So
ones were blue/red or rainbow U7.
Yeah, and then the most recent one besides the U7 Goku deck was the
U7 Gohan.
U7 Gohan, the red Gohan, which kind of ran more of a heavy skillless package. And then it was a lot of draw power, but like I just feel that deck is severely underwhelming. It's just a high draw red deck. You don't really U7 Goku just does it better. It
Alright.
does what red wants to do
Um,
better.
Yeah, I can see that because I was building red blue U7 before I took my 2 years hiatus from the game. And red U7 seems to be a lot more consistent than when I was testing out blue red.
Yeah. Red U7 is kind of just really good all around. Just get to do a lot of stuff. I mean, shit, I came third in the regional with it, so yeah, I can say with confidence the deck is fucking good. It's
Alright.
consistent. You see what you need.
I mean, you can see what you need, or you can just put it in the grave and grab it back.
Exactly.
So, what's your guys' opinion on the current meta state of the game?
Fine.
I think it's in a really good spot, honestly. I think it's a very safe meta. A lot of different decks have a lot of different opportunities in this meta for sure. I don't think anything is necessarily broken or needs to be touched or moved or changed. I think for the first time in a long time, the meta that we currently have is just overall in a very good spot.
I mean, how do you
Very
feel
open.
the meta feels now compared to 2 years ago when the main mechanic in the game was wish, skillless rush, veggies? How do you feel the difference between that meta and this one?
Well, personally, in that sense specifically, I can say that I was in the era of even pre-Wish, and I was actually talking to one of my friends yesterday about this. Like, back when 7 energy was normal, back when you had to pay 5 energy to be able to awaken because your opponent wasn't hitting you, because we didn't have self-awakeners. Like, that was a complete set of meta. That was like a complete whole block. And then it transpired into the Storm Wish meta, which is the one you're referring to, which I think Bandai wanted to go on a route where games were a little bit shorter. Uh, but they gave certain decks too many tools to do it too good. And it got out of control. And now in this one, it's a little bit of a balance of both. Games can go to 7 energy in some matchups, but if you're going to 7 energy, it's because that's your game plan. And the fact that you can actually get to 7 energy on a meta that is supposed to be on the faster pace, it's pretty impressive, to be honest.
I can see that because when I met Charles, it was during the whole wish meta, and he saw what it can do, especially when I was playing Shenjita, that cheap ass Shenjita I built.
I hated that deck.
You gave me the cards to finish it.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's my own fault.
I started when Set 6 began, so I missed that meta personally, but like, um, I don't know, I feel like the game's like changed, like, because I started in Set 6, and like, even then, like, it was totally different than how things are now. Like, I remember back then, like, apparently it was, I heard, like, when I had started, like, somebody had, like, killed one of the regionals or something just by taking 2 copies of the Green Star Broly and just combining it together and just won with it. It was like, and that was like a super aggressive deck that had like KOing elements and stuff to it. So it was like really weird that even something like that was a thing.
I mean,
And then like, yeah,
I mean, Green Broly still does see some play, especially the starter deck one in hand
Yep.
control. I mean, I'm building it, so
It's a good deck.
it
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 has
is.
some bad matchups, but
It does. I
it's
mean,
good.
every deck has its bad matchups.
Yeah.
But I mean, part of being a competitive player is knowing how to play against those bad matchups, having the right cards in your side deck.
Yep, 100%. That deck is honestly overall it is fine. And especially now that like 18 mil has like been hit and it's gone, like nobody's playing Android 18. The only like that was like one of the worser matchups because you just couldn't play your deck. Like the moment they played the tokens on your board, and if you awakened, you couldn't summon any more creatures, so you were actually screwed. You couldn't play your deck. Period. So that being gone as well was very, very good for the deck. Although Android 21 still exists, but it's not the most popular deck. So
Well,
yeah.
didn't one of their cards get hit on the ban list? Like one of their more
Or
popular cards for Android 21?
oh, the Predator was it that 8 drop?
Yeah.
That one got banned like when set 10 started, just because like that whole block they were promoting multicolor, and then this card was like, yeah, if you don't have multicolor, just like shuffle all your life and your board away, and it has deflect, so you couldn't really answer it. But then like they made Unison Warrior block, and they were heavily promoting monocolor decks again. So it just made business sense. They had to ban it because it like you're gonna kill your own product before it even comes out if you didn't like get rid of that card. That's
So
more of what it was.
I don't know what other card games you guys have played, but how do you feel Bandai Namco handles the ban lists and releasing their products compared to other companies?
I think it's fine. They listen a little too much about like I feel like they listen too much to some people's opinions, like when they like cry about certain things. I feel like they're a little too lenient, but like it's nicer that they're lenient rather than like just like dead silence and nothing like that. Because like I used to play Force of Will, and in that game there was a meta that literally killed the whole player base with this one broken leader called Reflect Refrain. This fucking card. Can I swear on this or no? Sorry.
Yeah, you can. That's fine.
Okay. Okay. Reflect Refrain literally broke the entire game for over a year straight. It was the most broken thing, and like people just stopped playing entirely. And then all they did was they errated it, and then like it still didn't do anything. And then like a year later, they hard banned it, and then at that point, finally people could play the game because like the leader was bullshit. You couldn't attack it, you couldn't defend against it. It didn't have stats, but like on the front side, you would literally like either you filter something, untap something, or flash something on the front side, and you could just flip it over at any point. And when you flipped it over, you could counterplay something, you could search for something, or you could like, I think it was like cheat something in a play or some shit like that, and your opponent had no interaction with it whatsoever. And it was like, what the fuck is this shit? And like that company took like
I feel
2
like
years.
that's like Gogeta World Peace bullshit from.
Yeah, but it was like that for 2 years basically.
I think that sometimes when they want to hit like uh, an exploit or like a weird interaction, they hit it in such a way that kills the card completely. Like a great example is Galactic Buster. Um,
I don't know what that card is. Could you explain it a little bit? Like I said, I took a 2-year hiatus from this game, so.
Galactic Buster was a zero is because it's not banned. A zero cost extra card that is active battle, if I'm not mistaken. And when you activate it in active battle,
okay.
you grab one of your energies and you put it into play.
You combo with it.
You draw
And
one combo with
yeah,
it, and then you put it in your energy, and then you have to tap the energy in a turn. But what you would do was you would use it with the blue Bojack engine, and they could be comboed from energy or from hand, and some of them had really nasty effects, like the dual attack Bojack, where if you combo it from your hand or energy, you can pay to it end of battle, put them into play for 2 mana basically, and get a dual attack 20k that on play bottom decks a card.
Okay, so yeah, that's pretty fair.
And
Yeah.
people are running that in like Soul Striker,
Yeah.
Goku, where you can after you do that, you can swing with lead and then untap 2 energy that you just paid to play the guy.
Yeah.
so I think that if they pay just a little bit more attention when they're designing the cards, we wouldn't have like weird erratas and weird bans like that.
I mean, if you think about it though, compared to other card games, Bandai handles it pretty well. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh, when I used to play that, the meta was so broken that when they were releasing new cards, they wouldn't think of the older cards when they released the newer ones, and the interactions between those cards would be ridiculous.
Yeah. Also, don't they like? Was there like one set where like they literally released some stuff and like a month later after the set was released, they just hard banned
Yeah,
a lot of the product?
with the elemental dragons.
That seems like bad business practice.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because literally when they came out, they were a tier 0 deck.
Hmm.
Like you could splash them in just about anything, you basically win.
I think what was cancerous. What was cancer though, which I'm glad they like hit, was like that whole King Vegeta meta. That shit was fucked. The
Turn two kill crap.
turn two kill, that turn two kill bullshit. The King Vegeta Dark Broly like meta, that shit was not fun at all. Honestly,
Unfortunately, I got to miss that meta.
oh, it was dreadful, dude. Absolute trash. Like,
Yeah, it's like if you were playing anything other than those decks, you were just having a bad time.
you literally play that or play Hatch. Like that was your options.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel about how Bandai handles the promos with this game?
I hate the system. I fucking
I
fucking hate it.
don't like it either. I think they should just do reprints of cards in their
arts.
promos and alternate arts and stuff
See,
like that.
that's why one of the main reasons I loved Final Fantasy is all their promos were literally just special alternate arts. That's all their promos were for tournaments.
Yeah.
Same with
that's how it
Force of
should
Will.
be.
It was so much better. Like, here's your promos for the month. Enjoy, have fun. That's it.
And I thought that was a lot much of a better system than what we have here because a lot of your meta decks, well, yeah, require like 4 of promos that are like $20 a piece.
Well, that's how
Being considerate.
Broly Swap was when it first came out before the reprint of the one drop promo. I mean, I had to buy because I really genuinely liked playing that deck, but like I had to buy those one drop promos. They were like $40 a piece, and you needed 4. Well, I mean, you maybe not needed, but ideally you're playing 3 or 4 of them, so you're dropping $60 potentially on one promo.
$60 more than that. The red Broly swap you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit was $80 for the baby Broly each.
Oh, that's okay. Oh.
I mean, even draft box, even the cards
Oh,
that were
fuck.
printed in draft box
Oh,
were
yeah,
expensive.
The draw 2 apes and shit.
Remember
Draft
when
box 4
the
and 5 were a
Migra
mistake.
was $85 a piece?
Yeah.
Oh, draft
you
box
weren't-
6, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, draft box was
kind
a
of why I
mistake.
stayed away from buying, like playing meta decks for a while was because I genuinely just didn't have the money to sit there and drop. Oh, I want to play this Overwhelm deck. Okay, well here you need 4 of these Demigods because they're busted. All right, well, and I gotta drop $300 just on a playset of 4 cards out of a draft box. Like I'm not gonna sit there and gamble on a $80 draft box or $60 draft box and potentially not pull a card.
See,
Guess what? That draft box, the one with Demigra and the Piccolo Junior Burn, I bought 5 of that draft box. I didn't pull a single one of the Piccolo or the Demigra.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, see.
I mean, I understand that, especially if you're a newer player and you don't have the budget for these type of cards. Because when I first started playing, I started playing when the game was like brand fucking new. And when Set 2 came out and the promo 17s came out, if you wanted to play Cell, you needed those Android 17s. And if you don't have them, your deck is super inconsistent and you can't play, basically.
Or Teamwork Kaba.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that green Kaba for veggies.
And that was a dash pack. That
Yeah, it
wasn't
wasn't
even...
even- Yeah, that wasn't even a TP promo. That was a dash pack promo, which was a lot more prevalent, and I thought, right? There's a lot more of those running around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To be fair though, they have recently like this set and last set, and I think even the set before, the promos are a much lower power level. Like some decks, yeah, you still need them, but they're not like tier 0 decks or tier 1 decks where it's like if you don't have this promo, you're shit out of luck. Like they have been kind of learning from that, and they are putting like desired super rares to be reprinted. Like Valen Ray's got reprinted, which was fantastic, even though somehow the promo is more expensive, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
I don't know why that.
it's not foil or anything, and
It doesn't make sense. But
okay.
Zom also got reprinted, which I mean, yeah, I know they put in a mythic booster as well, but had they not, there was another way to get copies of the card that was extremely
Yeah.
sought after, right? Like,
Yeah,
that's
it's a very
not a
very
bad
good.
idea.
It's
I
a
mean-
very very good card for green.
I mean, we had that conversation the other day when I was talking to Charles in the Discord about his Zamasu profile because I don't have access to reposts, and I'm not willing to drop $20 a piece for each Frieza.
Well, luckily, you can play in the UW tournament this Saturday and next Saturday and make top 64, and you can probably pull at least one or two off the
I won't
event
have a
packs.
deck ready by then, sadly.
Yeah, he's waiting on his stuff to show up in the mail.
So here's what you do: just sign up, and Notion at least you get one. But I mean, that's still a ripoff. You're paying $30 then.
Yeah, exactly.
Still a ripoff.
Yeah, it wouldn't be worth it.
No. Damn.
Sucks.
So, what future leaders would you guys like to see in the game?
Ooh.
I know.
And I'm talking
Black-
about the entire Dragon Ball verse. So, Heroes, Xeno, basically anything out there.
100%. We need a black Goku Black leader that
Nah, I'd be
awakens
pretty-
into Rose.
I'd be pretty hyped about that actually. That would make me want to play a black deck.
I mean, I wanted a good Piccolo leader, but that's already coming out, so that's already done.
I mean, Charles, you can go for that golden cooler.
Right. I don't know, man. We really have like so many. There's so many characters in Dragon Ball across like the whole entire like.
Blue Yellow Bardock's crew. That's what I want.
I would
Blue-
love
yeah.
to see a new version of Bardock's crew.
I
Yeah,
would-
blue yellow leader. Just
I
give
love-
me a blue yellow leader. That's
I
it.
love Bardock.
Don't give me anything else.
Bardock is one of
Exactly.
my favorite characters. But
Yeah.
a lot of his current decks just can't hold up in this meta.
They're okay.
No,
the
the-
cards are
the-
okay. It's the leader.
Yeah, it's so like I have a red Bardock's crew deck, but I run it on a Vegeta leader. And it's just weenie aggro. Like it's summon like 5 or 6 dudes by turn 2 or 3 and just swarm the board and smack face.
Kill. Just kill.
Yeah, if you draw the absolute nuts, it's like kill turn 2. If not, then you're killing on turn 3. But
Yep.
if you brick, you brick. Like there's really no way around it.
I think I'd like to see a Xeno Zamasu deck.
That would be cool with his little eye patch thing. That'd
Yeah.
be pretty fire.
I feel like that would probably be your black Xeno Zamasu leader. Right there. Because, I
They need
mean,
to hurry up
a-
doing the manga stuff.
a lot of their Xeno shit is usually black.
Yeah,
So that would probably be your black Zamasu leader, if anything.
I would. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be against that.
But see, that's the problem. People think about Samasu too much. Fuck Samasu. Nobody cares about Samasu. We want Goku Black.
Right. I mean, you're not wrong. Zamasu has what, three leaders. Goku Black
More.
has his own, like one of his own leaders, but he has like dual leaders with the blue one from set 7 and then this new Wish one, which is like super neg. But I wouldn't mind seeing like an android leader that was like the evil dudes that didn't turn good, like Android 19, like that type of crew. That would be pretty dope.
We don't have an Android 19 leader, do we?
No, we have a really, really bad Android 20 leader, Jiro leader, with 17 and 18 on the side. It was a yellow leader. It's really bad.
For successor, like there's just draws and like you can like I don't free play. You pay energy, you can play one of your dudes from grave. I think for like 1 energy or 2 energy.
Yeah, and they don't have any type of protection. It's not good at all.
Yeah, that tends to happen a lot with a lot of the leaders. They just kind of print a leader and just say, "Here, take this."
Here's an archetype. Good
I
luck.
want a mercenary Tau leader.
That would be pretty cool.
That would be sick.
I mean, you might see that if they continue to push out the Red Ribbon Army shit,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
because they
But,
are
like-
getting a battle card for Mercenary Tau, so we might get a leader.
That's not banned. Rip.
I need a Shu leader.
That would be pretty
True.
cool.
Shu.
I think Chi-Chi or like Gine.
I think
Or
the
like-
Maiden's archetype needs a decent leader to give it like a good buff.
Yes. Yeah, I think that could be a good thing too. I think there should be like they already have Grant Priest, which is cool and all, and like I understand the thing, but they should have something like that with like the destroyers. So like I get like Great Priest has the destroyers, right? So like you play, all the angels, but then you can also play. Actually, I'm looking at it now. They're mostly all angels. There's really no like destroyers in it. Like you play like
Unless
Beerus
you're
and
running
stuff like that.
the destroyer/angel cards. That's the only really destroyers besides
Yeah.
Beerus in your deck.
So I think they should make like a new Xeno leader, and then have like similar to Great Priest maybe, but a better version of it, and then do like the destroyers like Champa, Beerus, and then all the other
Baltamo, etc.
all the other dude, the clown guy, all the other.
I think I'd probably want to see. That's actually a hard question I actually presented because, like you guys said, there's so many characters in Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Mm. I'd probably go with seeing a Xeno, Zamasu, or some more. What race is Baby? I can't remember.
Oh, I don't even know.
Not the Machine Mutant, the other part. The Tarbles or Turbles or whatever the hell they are.
Tuffles.
Tuffles. The twins from the newest Heroes. That would be an interesting leader.
Alpha and Gamma and Beta.
I don't remember their names.
Gamma and Beta, yeah, the two new ones that are coming out in the movie.
Yeah, it's gonna be a blue leader. They already did a sneak.
Yeah,
peek
but he's talking about like the Tuffle twins, like the
From Heroes.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Oh yeah.
We need a Mr. Popo leader.
Somebody in his stream. That would be funny. A Popo leader. It's a black leader though.
I mean, they'd probably do it like kind of like a
And you
joke
just
leader,
don't
like how,
see- you just
how
don't
our
see 'em.
Hercule was.
Yeah, it's a Popo leader. It's a black like wormhole leader or something like that, and you just don't see him. Like his character is like just his face.
Yeah. Call back to Team 4-Star.
Yeah. With the Popo mat.
Popo.
I need a Altart Senzu being of Krillin just yeeting it at people. All right.
We need another Krillin leader and a Yamcha
need-
leader. We don't have a
We need
Yamcha
good
leader.
Krillin.
No, Stormfist is good. Just we need another one that isn't blue.
I feel like
wouldn't mind
Yamcha's
that.
place is in red. Like,
Because like Stormfist itself is honestly a good deck. Like I used to play that when Icarus was at full power, and like I was matching Icarus for draw power, which was insane.
That's absurd.
But this was also when Galactic Buster was a thing, and blue decks were a lot more open, not just Snooze Striker, Snooze Striker, Snooze Striker. So like,
Yeah.
like I'm being serious. Like I literally was matching full power Icarus for draw power, which is crazy. Like, it was actually
That
a
is
legitimately
pretty
good
nuts.
deck. But like, it's a blue deck. Like, give us something. Like, give us another Krillin leader that isn't blue. That'd be
we
cool.
don't have a Tapion leader.
No
Yeah, we don't.
Tapion.
We don't have a Tapion leader. We have
Yeah, you
Tapion
do.
support with future Trunks and then Harudegarn, but we don't have an actual Tapion leader.
No Yamcha leader.
That was a good point. It's Demi.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you for
do.
that,
We have a
suggestion.
Yamcha leader. It's bad, but we have a Yamcha leader.
What do you mean? We have a Yamcha leader?
Burn Yamcha.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. We have two Yamcha leaders.
Yeah,
They're
we
so
have a
irrelevant. I forgot.
You're not wrong. You are not wrong, good sir.
So, what keyword mechanic would you guys like to see come to the game?
Ooh, I'm not a big brain like that. I don't know.
Already a good amount of stuff as is, but like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Some kind
we
of
got
like
More
immune.
mana dorks. That'd be nice. Have some
Immune?
mana dorks.
More immune.
Immune, yeah. We were actually talking about this with the new cooler leader, the meta cooler that spams all the tokens. They don't have protection, and they're just a 15k, which every counter in the game hits it. So we were saying maybe give the Unison some kind of like immune ability where you -2 and whatever you summon on that turn gains deflect and barrier.
Okay, so
For
you're
that turn.
basically saying give itself self-protection instead of just straight up giving it barrier.
Yeah, exactly. And it would be just for the summon and the turn. And then once the turn ends, it loses the skills.
I feel that would be way too powerful for that archetype, though. I'm not gonna lie to you. Because like, if you like sequence that right, you could easily like stall to turn 5, and then like successor into like the one that spams out 4 more, or you can stall to turn
Or
6,
the
do
one
that
that
twice.
the active battle that spams 100.
Yeah, you could just do that. Wait till turn 5, do that. Like you do the minus ability, you do that, play all of them, swing, 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 swing till like your heart's content, and then just be like, okay, here's Cell Xeno, and oh, you had 3 cards left in deck. Well, three cards left in hand. GG, well played, scrub. Like, yeah, the team's a little bit much.
I think what I want to see, since we got the Goku's lineage, we get a Vegeta's lineage.
We do have it actually, but it's really
We
weak.
have. Oh my god, it's horrendous. It's not weak. Is not even like the context of the word.
Like
The start of the chain is good. The start of the Vegeta's lineage chain is good. It's the end pieces of the Vegeta's lineage are trash. That's
I
the
feel
problem.
like it needs to be strengthened a lot more.
Mhm.
Like Vegeta is one of my favorite hero characters, quote unquote. And I feel like he needs a little more love. I understand that it's Dragon Ball, Goku gets all the love, but come on, man.
That's Bandai.
You need a Fu leader.
Boo leader would be fire.
It'd probably be Black.
That would be. Oh yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Because it's a Zeno
100%.
character.
That would be pretty cool, actually. I forgot all about Foo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Fu would actually be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Probably Korin. Get a Korin leader in here with Yajirobe.
Yajirobe was badass, man. That guy was OP as fucking Dragon Ball. Like, he was the one who killed Drum, I think, or was it like fucking Symbol? Or what the fuck did he kill? Like the guy literally like one tapped a guy who one tapped Krillin or some shit.
I
I
think
don't
it
even
was-
kill Tambourine, but like think about it. The guy literally like it's like think about it in context. Goku struggled to climb up Korin's tower, and this fucking absolute Chad one-shots one of like the Demon Clan, and then proceeds to carry Goku on his fucking back, climb up Korin's tower, trip and slide down, and climb back up again with this kid on his back the whole time. The man's a fucking unit. Like seriously. Like
That is
think
good.
about it. That's actually crazy.
That
I mean-
was one of my favorite stamp cards of all time. The Blue Gyrover with Revenge. I still have it. Such a beautiful card.
I mean, remember, he is the one that severed Vegeta's tail the first time.
Yeah, too. Hmm.
This man needs some more love.
Yeah.
You're
More
not wrong.
respect.
Put some respect on it.
So, given that we're getting characters coming back from older parts of Dragon Ball, such as Frieza, the reimagining of Broly, what character would you like to see reimagined?
I mean, they're already doing the manga, but like Bardock, they're doing already.
Well,
If
like,
you-
not ones that have already been confirmed, like Bardock.
That shit's
Raditz.
good,
Raditz.
Yes.
He needs a makeover. Like he needs a revamp of that story. We need my homie back. He would be absolutely fucking busted.
Like, I would love to see Turles come back, but at the same time, his basically whole arc is basically Moro, but without the tree. That's basically what Moro is Turles with the Tree of Might. If you think about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I guess you can consider the Earth a tree of might.
I mean, they already did that whole Turles thing. They made Goku black, right?
God
It's
damn
the
it.
what if evil Goku, right? So we already have that.
Uh,
Garlic Jr. on your hand.
Yo, give me a good Garlic Junior
us
leader.
good
Let's
Garlic.
go.
Give us some good garlic here, and also like maybe like actually do something in the manga with that.
Or maybe make cooler canon.
That would be sick.
That would be fucking cool. I'm hyped about that.
That Bojack, make him canon. Yo,
I
That'd
would
be
love
sick.
that. Especially with how the power scalings have changed from Z to now. It would be amazing to see how much of a issue they can give the team.
That would be dope.
Make SS4 transformation canon and let Broly be the first one to achieve it.
Well, it's rumored that Broly's getting a new transformation in Superhero.
Yeah, I heard about that too.
How about make Gohan useful? And also give us a good Gohan leader.
Well, if I remember, the Gohan superhero is focused more around Gohan.
Yeah, and we all know what he's fighting already, because that was leaked.
Yeah, unfortunately, but I mean, I'm just happy to see Gohan put some respect on his name.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, when you think about it in context of the whole tournament power, like the guy, literally, what, he trained for like 2 days and forced Goku to use his fucking Kaioken Super Saiyan Blue to beat him? Like, what? Like, the guy trained for 2 days. He's like, yeah, I'm as strong as my dad. Meanwhile, fucking Hit's been practicing his whole life, and then Goku had to, like, go that ham on Hit, who's been practicing his whole life. Like, think about it. What?
I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm interested to see how they might change Gohan's character, given that with the Tournament of Power, he was just like, I want to be more focused on my human side instead of relying on his Saiyan powers.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, I had a brain fart.
Wasn't Gohan supposed to be the main character for Dragon Ball, but people fell in love with Goku and they shifted the whole story?
I thought it was Goten. It was the whole point of making little Goku Jr. over there.
I'm pretty sure he intended everything to end in, like, Frieza Saga, and then they're like, no, make more. Okay, fine. And then he made Cell Saga, and then they twisted Toriyama's arm more. Like, yeah, come on, we need more shit. Like, fine. Here's the Boo Saga now. I'm pretty sure that's what had happened.
I mean, that's how it happens for a lot of mangakas, because I know originally the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh! He was just gonna have it a game of the week, and then fucking fans were just like, "Yo, how do we learn how to play this card game? Where can we get it?"
Yep.
And that's basically
surprised.
how we got Yu-Gi-Oh!
They should have emphasized Yugi taking showers in the show.
I
We
mean,
need
you're not.
another Roshi leader.
A good Roshi, yeah. Give me
Yeah,
give me
yeah,
a big buff Roshi leader.
Like, I know they made one in set 5, but it's so fucking outdated.
Fucking Master Roshi, swole as fuck.
Yeah, give me that.
Keep his sunglasses on. Call him Chad.
Yeah, Roshi leader would be, like, actually really cool idea. Get like an actual Earthling that isn't just a fucking 5-10K split.
Do you think Earthlings
Yeah.
should get a buff as a
A little risky Earthlings, because it's the second most common archetype. It's Sane, then it's Earthling. Like, those are
Yeah.
the two. Those are literally the two most common. And like,
I mean, slap a limitation on the leader for Earthlings.
yeah, I mean, yeah, you could do Earthling only, but like, they already have a good amount of like good cards overall. It's not necessarily like the Earthling type that's the issue. It's more that like a lot of the Earthling leaders that are exclusively Earthling are a little bit lackluster. Like Red Bulma's fantastic. Like that one's the exception to the rule, but like most of the Earthling only leaders that aren't named Red Bulma or Red Launch don't fucking do much, honestly. And even then, like they have like very specific game plans and how they work, right? Like Red Launch is all about like arrivaling and like going into the combo phase as much as possible, while Red Bulma is like super defensive and can set up a perma lock or a fucking burn loop. Like it's either or. Either you're getting perma locked or you're getting burned to death. But like those are like the only like two good Earthling only leaders that spring to mind.
I mean,
Everything
the
else is
only
like
one I've seen in play was Lunch against Charles in one of his streams. So I can't say anything about Bulma. I haven't seen Bulma play.
One of our more recent teammates, he came fifth in the core regional a few months ago with Red Bulma actually.
Oh, okay.
It pops up every now and then. Because like
it relies on a good pilot though, because
Yeah.
all the Earthlings and Saiyans gain blocker. So
red and yellow Earthlings are Saiyans gain blocker.
Yeah, but I mean, isn't that just almost any deck though? Any deck can be good depending on the pilot and how well they know their deck and the interactions.
Yeah, but the thing though is like the leader is a 5-10K bait, like 5K 10K, so you're already playing on the back foot where like one drops that like people play as cantrips, if they're 5K power can potentially threaten your leader, right? So like you have to like sequence more carefully than you would like a normal deck where like your leader's a 10-15 split.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, isn't it the same way with the announcer? Wasn't he the same way?
No, now
5?
it's just a 10-15.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was just fun though. That was just a fucking blast. And Reboot Announcer is even more of a blast. That one's just fun. It's not good, but it's fun.
I mean, you gotta have your just for fun decks. You can't just purely focus on your sweat. I'm gonna beat the shit out of you decks.
Oh no, 100%. Always sweat.
I mean, mind you though, Announcer, like, it's turn 5. It's turn 4 and 5 are some of the scariest in this fucking game. Like, if your opponent does not have the answer to your shenanigans turn 5, you're gonna literally take someone from 8 to 0 and delete their hand at the same time. It's absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, I can see that. Oh, did Charles freeze or is he asleep?
Oh, he's out. He went to bed.
Okay, I wasn't the only one that noticed that.
I think he needs a reboot.
Reboot Charles off.
I'm assuming his internet died or his system crashed.
Charles.exe stopped working.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the game's in an okay spot, honestly. Like, I think it's in a fine spot. The next set is it's good overall. Like, this blue stuff is a little fucking weird, in my opinion. But
I feel like it's gonna be janky and gimmicky.
its boss monster is terrifying, is the thing, right? Like that rare, that robot is really. It has like every keyword you want to see on a card: double strike, dual attack, crit, spot removal, way to infinitely pump itself up if you have a big enough board. Like what? That's kind of nutty. Like that's it's almost every keyword you want to see on a card. So,
Yeah, it's really good for pressuring, but I don't know
Yeah.
how the entire archetype is gonna be.
yeah, that one seems really weird. Some of it is splashable enough.
Oh, there goes Charles.
Yeah,
Well,
is
Okay,
Probably.
he'll probably be back, but I
think
feel
it'll
like
be
we
good.
might get some more support for that. Cause what next set isn't out for at least another month,
Yeah, something like that. I think.
so we should be getting some more spoilers hopefully.
Mhm.
Because they did just announce what Android 13 for the deck,
I mean,
not Android,
just that one card.
Android 15.
Yeah, just the one card though.
So hopefully we might be getting more androids.
I mean, he was Red Ribbon, which is why he was there either way. But I mean, yeah, I guess that makes sense. All the entrants are Red Ribbon, anyways.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see how it goes either way. I mean, it's definitely for the Gamma Beta, where the heck they're called, deck, anyways. And thank God they made it like that because I dreaded the thought of thinking if that card was just open to all blue decks, like you know how boring facing blue would be. Oh yeah, if you want to swing at me, -2 in hand every time. Oh, you want to counterplay my floodgate? How about I just counter with my ape? GG, well played. Like, oh my God, that would be boring as fuck.
Yeah,
Thank
it would.
God.
What's your
Fuck
opinion on the
that.
new General Rildo leader?
He's good. He does a lot of good things. He's going to be slept on. The only minor issue is the leader's alternate awaken puts himself to 6 life instead of 5, and that's not really a good sweet spot you want to be at because if you're at 5 life, you can at least use the token negates for free,
Mm-hmm.
which is very ideal. 6 life is a really weird number, but I mean, red has a lot of self awakeners anyways, so it doesn't really matter.
I mean, you can splash in your after images. That'll drop you on your life.
Yeah.
So I mean,
It's not the end of the world. The thing though is like the leader, like not the leader, but the whole archetype itself is very searchable. It's very spammable. It can clear boards. It has the ability to consistently reduce the enemy leader's power, which is like one of the biggest things. When you're trying to go for game, like, and the only thing is like, it sucks the deck doesn't have triple strikers or like anything like that, but it has a lot of double strikers, right? Which has been a bit of a norm. Like, if you notice recently, a lot of cards are mainly just double strikers, double strikers. Very few triple strikers these days. But either way, you have a deck that can reduce the enemy leader's power. So now they have to combo even higher to not die. But like, I'm also negging your board. I have a blocker that just works like that Sin promo SCR that just keeps restanding itself. Like, it, it's good. I think it's a legitimately good deck. Do I think it's the best red deck? Fuck no. But is it gonna be good? Yeah, it's gonna be solid.
yeah, I can see that.
it's gonna do good things. It just depends on what they also do with the ban list and all that. Like the meta overall is pretty healthy, and like King Piccolo, I like the deck a lot. In my opinion, I don't think the deck needs to get hit really hard. Like if you want to hit it, go ahead. And I get it, like it does a lot of free play shit, but like the deck itself is an extremely sequence heavy deck. Like you actually do have to legitimately sit down and think about how you want to do things. It's just once you understand how you do those things, it's fucking stupidly explosive, right?
Yeah.
Its kill turns are fucking like long-winded, long ass turns that do a lot of shit, but you have to do it everything step by step perfectly. If you misstep anywhere in that, you kind of just lose. In all honesty, so like that's kind of the like thing about King Piccolo. But I also do understand where like people are complaining in the fact that like it just does too much for so little compared to other decks, and that's totally understandable. It makes sense. I don't know how they would really balance it because like you've already limited one of its key pieces. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to limit the symbol too, or you're going to make that one get the unique tag? And then what happens? You lose your draw power, which, I mean, yeah, getting multiple symbols is fucking stupid. You're drawing like 4 or 5 cards a turn, which is dumb. But, like, what do you really do to the archetype to not completely kill it? Because you don't want to be killing archetypes. They did that with King Vegeta. They completely murdered it. King Vegeta's not playable at all. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's no point in any time you would really seriously consider playing that fucking deck. Why would you? It's stupid. It's trash. It's bad. Without like, without it being at full power anymore. Like, it doesn't make sense. So like, I don't know what they would do there. And like, in my opinion too, I do feel like it's about time that something happens to Gogeta Xeno because like the leader, or they do something to thwarting, not ban it. I don't think thwarting is a ban worthy card, but I do feel you
Errata.
either do they do one of two things. Either make it where the card is playable when you have 2 energy or when your opponent has 2 energy. That's the only like thing I would see making it more fair. The only downside to that, if you make it where
Yep,
your
he's back.
opponent has a 2 energy, is your that means you wouldn't really be able to play it to like turn 3 going first, which doesn't make sense. It's a black card. It should be aggressive. And I mean, if you make it when you have 2 energy, it's a little more fair, I'd say. So I think it should be like that. Or like they need to hit the fucking leader. Like either make it so the activate main is like 3, kind of like Vegex, or they need to remove the draw. But I don't think you would remove the draw off the fusion. I think it makes more sense to just hit the activate main and the auto on the awaken side that lets you like mill up to 5 in the warp. Because like here's like the big like thing that people don't pay attention to is the math of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the game itself, right? You run a 50 card deck at minute, right? So like you want to ideally have a 50 card deck. Like I know Gogeta Xeno you can go 55, but let's just say you're running a hard 50 card list, right?
Mm-hmm.
Opening hand is 6. Life is 8. That's 14 out of 50 already gone. You have 36 cards left in your deck to work with, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you're going second, okay? Not going first, you're going second, okay? Going second. Leader swing, you draw one, take a life. Don't worry about the one you take from life, that doesn't matter. You just drew one, right? And you already drew for turn. So you drew for turn and you drew off your leader swing. You're already at 34 cards left in your deck, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you do the activate man on your leader. Activate man on your leader, you mill 5 more, right? Now you're at 29 cards left in your 50 card deck. You're already at almost 50% of your original starting deck, you're almost 50% through it already. And then even of that like 36, like here, I'll literally calculate it right now, right? Like, let me get the exact number here, right? So if I, because like there's a lot of math to it, right? So it's 13.8% of your deck you go through just off the activate main alone, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. And that means also if you just add the draw, so like just the draw of your leader, right? So we do 14, so 14 out of like, not 14, what the fuck am I saying? 6 out of 36, right?
Uh-huh.
Right? You're going through 16% of your deck a turn just off the leader swing and the activate main, right? Now, what if you do fusion? You're drawing another card. You're going through like 18% of your deck in one turn. You do that 3 turns in a row. Like, if you go through 18% of your deck 3 turns in a fucking row, you've gone over 50% of your deck already. Like over it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've literally seen half of your deck in 3 turns, which is insane.
I mean,
So like,
that's the thing with any of these like current leaders though. You gotta do the math with how you play it.
exactly.
Because when Demigra first dropped, I was playing Mono Black Demigra,
Mm-hmm.
and if you weren't careful, you would deck yourself out with how aggressive you
Mhm.
play. And
Mhm.
that's a lot of things with black decks. Is if you're playing too aggressive, you will deck yourself out.
Yep. The problem though is like with the current like build for Gogeta Xeno, because the Trunks card now exists as well, it's a little too consistent in things. Like I can just activate main twice and I can guaranteed play my Trunks turn 2. If my opponent missequence like if they sequence poorly and I got like in my high rolls, I got my Gogeta Xeno on my turn 1 and I got my Mira on my turn 1 and they didn't swing it either, and they took my hits and they took their own life awakening, I can legitimately kill my opponent turn 2 with Gogeta Xeno. So
Yeah.
that's the thing, right? Like it can, it has the potential to kill turn 2, and it can just go like it can go for like a slower pace kill turn 3, kill turn 4. Like it can do mid range if it needs to, right? But
Yeah.
being able to for no cost whatsoever mill 5 is a little too strong in the current game state. Like it's not really like logical anymore. Like before it was okay because yeah, you could use your fusion targets from the warp, but you had to have the fusion targets in hand, right? But
Yeah.
now you have the Kai promo, which lets you play the mirror, which is already good. That already was fantastic. But then you also have the trunks, so you're always getting more targets anyways, on top of like everything else. Because like before, you would have to like fill your drop still. Like if you like whiffed and like your Gogetas went in there, you would like have to play the Overwhelm Goku to grab them back, yada yada, right? Like there's a lot of like back and forth there. But now you're just like, oh cool, I just play this fucking Trunks, fill my fucking drop without even trying. And oh look, I overwhelmed. Hey, guess what? I got my thwarting. Here's thwarting. Here's this. Here's that. With like minimal effort. In all honesty, like that leader needs to get hit because I'll be honest with you, I only recently picked up the fucking deck. Like I literally made the deck like a month ago, and like straight up, and I've been playing this deck for like playing this game for a while. I have like 50 plus decks. I play a lot of fucking. I always play a lot of things. I swear to you, it was the easiest fucking deck I've ever played. Like the first 2 turns, turn 3 onwards, the deck, yes, you have to like properly pilot and properly think. And doing turn 2 kill, yeah, if your opponent missequenced, yeah, you do have to think a bit for turn 2 kill. Turn 3 onwards, the deck is pilot intensive. But before that, it is literally the easiest fucking deck I've ever seen in my life. Like, period. There's no thought needed at all.
Yeah,
It's
because
autopilot.
I looked into the deck when I was hitting up my friends, seeing, hey, what's currently meta? I want to play competitively again. Thank God that remote tournaments are still a thing. But
Mm-hmm.
when my buddy was just like, you should play this, and he sent me a deck profile for, the
Mm-hmm.
Vegito, not Vegito, Gogeta,
Vegex.
Vegix. Yeah, I was just like, this is not my playstyle. I cannot handle decks like this because, like I said, when I was playing Black Demigra, I was just too aggressive with it. And once I started looking into Red U7, and everybody was just like, you're gonna need a lot of counters because Vegix is your worst enemy.
Or wait, for what? For U7?
Yeah,
No.
that's
In
what
what
I've
in
been.
what way?
I've been watching a couple videos, and they were just like, yeah, if you don't have a lot of counters, Vegix will take you out.
In what way?
I don't really pay attention to them because I looked at your and Charles' profiles a lot more than those, to be honest.
I I'm sorry, the only Vegex build that was a threat, and I'm being serious here because I've never lost to Vegex playing U7 at all, not once. The only way that Vegex has been a threat is if, and this is if, they go for that really shitty build where they do nothing but just run hard negates the whole fucking game and just mill you out because they themselves can't mill out.
Or am
That
I
is the
talk-
only threat.
or am I thinking
And
about Gogeta Xeno? I can't think. Oh,
Gogeta Xeno, I'm not even scared of. I'm never scared of Gogeta Xeno as U7. That shit also doesn't scare me. The only black deck I've legitimately, like, as U7, properly lost to was once against a Xeno Trunks player, and he played differently than every other Xeno Trunks I ever faced. Every Xeno Trunks I always face, they always play this stupid defensive style, and they have their thumb up their ass and do fucking nothing. Like they play the blockers, they don't swing with it. The one guy who beat me, and mind you, I whiffed on my fucking mills,
yeah.
and both my violent rays went in my grave, which fucked me over, of
Ooh.
course. But this guy literally was swinging at me with everything he fucking played, so that even if I could awaken, I was at too low life to get the game back in control. And he was going first as well, so he had to go first. I whiffed on my mills, and he was playing legitimately hard aggro. that no other Trunks player was fucking doing, and he beat me. And kudos to him. That guy was fucking cracked out. But no other Trunks deck has like beat my U7. They don't do shit. Same with like Gogeta Xeno can beat me if they high roll and I low roll and I'm not like ready for their shit. 100% they can beat me. 1,000,000%, right? But if you just like sequence properly, you're fine. The other thing too is like it depends on what's in their hand because you can kill their Gogeta Xenos early, but the risk too is if you kill one Gogeta Xeno during their turn, like this is the risk, right? If you kill their Gogeta Xeno their turn using like let's say like Jiren Videl or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
they can just play another one, right? Because it's just unique.
Yeah.
Right. So if you kill the one, they can play another one. So you have to like be aware of that as well. You need to make it where you're just preventing them from being able to swing anymore, and then on your turn, get rid of them. That's how you deal with that matchup. So I don't really think it's a bad matchup because I'm sorry, Gogeta Xeno is a deck that needs to kill me by turn 3. If it doesn't kill me by turn 3, they have no response to my fucking 4-drop Goku. I'm not gonna play Vegeta. I'm gonna play Goku. I'm gonna wipe their board, and if they have 1 mana black open, I'm just not going to swing with Goku because I know they have petrification, or I'll swing with it anyways and force them to use the petrification and go another -1 card in hand while I still maintain my Jiren Videl combo because then they don't have anything else to work with.
You're
Like
talking about Divine Presence, right?
no, the 8-drop Goku.
Oh, okay. You said 4
Yeah.
drop, and I was just like,
Sorry, I don't know why I said that. Like you pay for the Goku. Divine
Yeah,
Presence is
because-
okay in the black matchup too because the only way they can stop it is petrification as well. Um, but like even then, you can just stall it out with U7. You can just wait till turn 5 to play your kill shot stuff because the only answer they have is literally petrification. But they can only use that so many times. It's still 1 mana you need to leave open in a black deck. So like. They're usually trying to push for game, and you still have to go at least -1. So you're basically going -2 in hand to stop my one attack with that dude, where I can just as easily just flood the board with other shit. And Gogeta Xeno as a deck is one that also proactively takes its life down till it really low numbers. Like if it puts itself to like 2 or 1, you can just hard pressure with everything, and then just like, all right, here's my Vegeta SCR and burning you for the last life. GG, well played, scrub, get out of here. Right?
Yeah, that's
so
true.
it's I'm not gonna say like I don't think it's an auto lose matchup at all for U7. It's definitely still pilot driven. You have to think, but that's like any matchup in this game. That's like when you look at it competitively, right?
Yeah.
Like for example, Charles can tell you 1,000,000%. U7 versus Zamasu is a dog shit matchup for Zamasu. However, Charles here is also a fucking demon who's been trying to figure out every way possible to deal with this matchup, right? It's a pilot intensive matchup for him. He has to work a lot harder than I do. But if I fucking screw up at any point, he can take over the game, right? If I'm not doing stuff properly, he will he will literally destroy me. He'll prevent me from playing. He'll tap down my fucking mana and I'm fucking shit out of luck, right? If he runs the Vegeta Unisons, I can't swing with my big dudes anyways. And if he's tapping down my mana and controlling my board state and making it where I can't fucking do shit, then he could beat me as well, right? So
Mhm.
like even like the game is very pilot intensive now. Like the top decks are still really good because they're consistent and do a lot of good stuff overall, but they still are decks where if you fuck up, you're fucked. Like that's the big thing.
So how does U7 handle in the mirror?
In the mirror, just like every red matchup, whoever goes first has the advantage almost always. Um, However, that isn't like the end all be all. The other thing too, though, is like in the mirror, typically whoever plays the Vegeta first is usually the one to lose. So you need to you want to make it where your opponent has no choice. Like you make such a scary board state, but you still make sure you have enough cards in hand to defend yourself that they have no choice but to play that Vegeta SCR. The moment they play the Vegeta SCR and do the activate main, that's it. You just win off that. And then you just turn around and kick their ass because they've tapped out 4 and they can't do anything else, right? So
Yeah.
you have to just understand what are they gonna do to you that you can also do to them, right? And that's like the trick too. Like I faced the mirror match in the regional that I came third in, and I never did the mirror match before, and I believe he won the dice roll, right?
Mhm.
But I maintained or I think I won. I don't remember who won the dice roll, but I maintained my board state in such a way where you couldn't do anything else. And I was running Gohanks at that time, not even the Vegeta SCR. And I
Yeah,
played
'cause-
my Gohanks, and he on his turn, I think it was his turn 4, his turn 5, he played the Vegeta SCR, right? and I'm like, all right, I can Videl him. So I Videlled his Vegeta, and he had no choice because if he swung with Vegeta, then at that point I would just +1 with Gohanks and kill it, right? He wouldn't get to get the swings off, so he had no other option but to fucking do the activate main. And then on the next turn, I just played my Goku and I just fucking went for game, and that was it.
Yeah, because as we were talking about, you were recommending me running the that other
Gohanks,
SCR. Yeah,
he's
because
very good. Until you get your hands on Vegeta, he's very good. But I will be honest with you, when you get the Vegeta, it's like night and day the difference. Like games, like you're gonna win either way, but the way to see it is the Vegeta makes it so you do a lot less actions compared to the Gohanks. Like with the Gohanks, like I'm putting a lot of defensive pressure. I've already done a board wipe. I'm pressuring my opponent. If they dare swing with a battle card, it's probably gonna fucking die, and I can always do the -4 then on the Gohanks and fucking kill them, right? So they have to
Yeah.
play really carefully, which is good. But the thing though is, I still have to tap like 4 mana to play my Goku. I still need to do this. I still need to do that. I need to do this. Blah blah blah. Yada yada. Whereas I can just be like, oh, you're at 1 life? Yeah, okay. Let's play Vegeta real quick and burn you for the last life. GG, well played. Instead of like trying to like whittle your opponent down and go through all their super combos and all the cards in it, you just like, I'll just burn you for 1. GG, well played. Right? So it just makes your life so much fucking easier. But like it's also somewhat more vulnerable at the same time because Gohanks is a unison. There's less cards that interact with unisons than a battle card with deflect. Even though deflect is a very strong keyword, there still is cards that can deal with the Vegeta. There's literally cards that make it where my only option is to just do the activate man on Vegeta. Like in fact, like if my opponent has 1 mana open yellow, I'm never gonna swing with Vegeta. If they have 1 mana open with a red deck, maybe. If they have 1 mana open with if they have Jared out, I'm never fucking swinging. That's just never happening. If they have 1 mana open with a black deck, not happening. They have the kind of gate. I'm never doing, and they have petrification. You just fucking die, right?
Yeah.
If they have 2 mana open with a green deck, they have access to Kakumsa, which you can't resolve renewed because she's a 20k. She'll just kill the Vegeta, right?
Yeah.
So like almost every color that isn't named blue has ways of like dealing with your Vegeta SCR if you're not careful. So I'm never swinging with him unless they're tapped out. It's just not fucking happening. Never. Like
yeah,
period.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, back when I was playing, your main worries were the sparking counters. You know,
Yep.
after image, shocking death balls,
Yep.
shit like that. But nowadays, a lot of the one drops have barriers, so shocking
Mhm.
death ball isn't much of an issue. And with how
Yep.
much pressure I've noticed with this deck, you don't really have to worry about the after image because you're gonna have them at low life.
Yep. However, if you want to win the mirror match, run Hunt of the Demon God. That card is absolutely fucking stupid and wins you the mirror match like it's fucking nothing. That or run King Vegeta's Hidden Ambitions or both.
I
They
think
both basically have the
don't we
same effect.
don't we have King Vegeta in the deck?
I don't run it personally. I think I'd rather just run the Hunt of the Demon God
Oh
because
no, I have imposing presence. That's what it is.
oh yeah, imposing is fantastic. Yeah, so Hunt of the Demon God was in the Namekian booster, I think. It's a 1 mana black, like no, like it's a black card, but it's colorless. Counter where if your opponent has former energy, if all your energy and your leader are the same color, you can activate this. When your opponent activates a 1 mana counter attack skill without paying its mana cost, so like the sparking negates or dormant, you can just counter it. That's its negate effect. And then when it's in the drop area, you can pay 1, remove it from the game, and for a full turn cycle, you negate one of your opponent's battle card skills. So with U7 Goku, you either mill it and oh look, it's in my grave, I just pay 1, remove it from game, and blank their like Goku. Like it's an activate main, so I can like blank one of their cards and just move on with my life. Or when I'm trying to go for game, you know, in the mirror match, they're running imposing, they're running after image technique, they play them for free. Okay, you played for free. How about I just counter, and now I go for a game with whatever the fuck I was trying to kill you with, right? Because you know afterwards is a +4. Like nobody's like comboing over after mistake. It's not fucking happening, right? But if
Yeah.
you like make it where they take the life and then you counter, they've gone -1 in life, which might have been their last life even, and then you just go for game, right?
Yeah.
Like they lose the counter effect and they're fucked, right? So And Hidden Ambition is the same thing, but it's a battle card instead with the same counter. I think you need to have 3 more energy your opponent, so it is technically easier to use. However, having the ability to just pay 1 and remove the card from your grave from the game to negate the skills of something is very, very valuable too, though. So like, I don't know which one is better. Vegeta's probably easier to use because you get it at a earlier turn to use, but you need to have it in hand. Whereas the other one, the counter, yeah, you need it in your hand, but the remove from game effect, it just needs to be in your grave. So
I'll,
like, that can make the difference.
I'll have to look into those because, like I said, my deck is basically a mixture of yours and Charles.
Yeah.
So I'll check into it and see, because I haven't fully bought in my side yet, so I might put that in the side.
I highly recommend Final Guardian though. No matter what, I think that card's too fucking good.
Oh, I have a final Guardian in main and side.
Yeah, that one's too good though. That one, 1,000,000%. I ain't fucking with that. That should stay in.
Yeah, I have that as a 1/1.
Yeah. Unison choice is really up to you. Because now there's been like there's more regionals that happen, and coincidentally, like all the U7 decks keep coming third. So me, the guy in Italy, and the one in was it San Diego? Was it last weekend or whatever?
Yeah, San
right?
Diego is last weekend.
Right. So like, there literally is 3 different U7 decks that came third in a regional. Mine, where I ran the 3-cost Unisons with the Jiren Videl, and the other 2 ran the Piccolo Jr. with the Yamchas, right? So it really is at this point a preference thing, right? Like,
well, preference and accessibility to funds for the cards.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's
Because
really at this point preference.
That was more of the reason I went for the Jiren Videls.
Yeah.
Because they're more affordable than the Piccolos Yamchas.
Yeah. I mean, I have Piccolos and Yamchas. They're fucking... That, for me, it's not an issue. Just, I found, personally, the moment I tried Jiren, I never went back. Like, it just felt so much better to run than anything else. Because then my turn 2 is actually scary. Because I'm not just paying 2, tapping out, and playing a fucking Unison. Whereas now my turn 2 is playing my 17 and my Frieza, and then on my turn 3 I hold my Awaken, play the Jiren, and I still have my 17, I still have my Frieza, and then I Awaken, and I can defend myself. So for me personally, I like it more, but I also understand why they run the Piccolo. It's fantastic, you get draws, the auto is fucking OP, like, come on, you kill the Riposte on fucking play, you kill all their Floodgates on play. It's a fantastic card, right? The -2 sometimes even ends up being relevant. So I'm never gonna down talk the Piccolo Jr. choice or the Yamcha choice. However, like, for me, I just find, like, for my personal playstyle, I like having the 3-cost Unison build more. But that's just me.
And that's fair, because I mean, everybody has their own personal preference.
Exactly.
Like, some players can play almost any color perfectly fine, and then there's just that one color that you're just like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
That's how I was in general with aggro. Like, until I built the starter Vegeta deck and played with the Bardock's crew engine, like, I couldn't play aggro to save my life.
I mean, aggro has always been my thing, so is control. So it's not really anything different for me to play U7 or make a hand destruction deck. Like, stepping out of my comfort zone was playing Milnemba when that was still a thing.
Apparently my modem needed a firmware update.
Okay, there we go.
Milton Nimba has still been, like, popping up recently too, though. It's still a thing.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna touch it again.
I'll be honest, the fucking build's fucking boring as shit. Like, the current build is so fucking boring.
I mean, I do like Mill. That's kind of sort of the reason I'm going with Zeno Shenron.
Xenosin's good. I think, in my opinion, right now, with the current meta, in the current game state, where, like, everyone's playing a lot more aggressive stuff, people are going a lot more wide, and, like, shit like Yellow Zombies that also exist that can pop up every now and then with the Indestructible. Cooler Mill, in my opinion, right now, is probably the best Mill deck in the current meta.
Well,
because
I'm not building it because it's a Mill. It's more along the lines of, like I said in the Discord, the Shadow Dragon Saga was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Like, everybody has their favorite saga, and they're going to try and build a leader off of it just because they like that leader.
That's fair. I mean, Xenosin is good. I'm not down talking at all. Just,
no.
Yeah. I'm saying, like, more like, if you're talking, like, competitive sense, like to be high, like, most competitive, I would say that one is, because it's a red deck. Like, it's an aggro deck that uses Mill as almost like hand destruction, sort of. Like, you're just, like, aggressively dwindling your opponent down. If they fuck up, you just mill them out as an alternate win con. But you're literally just a fucking red deck that can switch to control if you need to. So like that's why it's really good. And negging right now is really really powerful when like shit like indestructible exists. There's fucking cards that say, "Oh, cannot be removed by your opponent's skills." Okay, let me just neg your power, and now you're fucking gone, right? So like
Yeah, I
it
get
deals with a lot of stuff, and because King Piccolo, for example, is a deck that spams out a lot of 15Ks, if you just neg their fucking board by like 15 or 20, they just lose everything, right? Like they lost all their gas, right? So that's why competitively, I feel like it's probably the best one. However, Xeno Sin does stupid fucking shit. That deck is fucking dumb. When
yeah,
it
I was
pops off,
watching.
it's dumb.
Yeah, I was watching some videos of it and it looks amazing. Like I want to play it, but it's not going to be like my main focus as a competitive deck. If I'm going to make a main competitive deck, I'm just going to put all my money into my U7 and make sure that's tip top.
Yeah.
Like
The
this
nice
is
thing
just
too
like
about U7 is it's splashable in the other U7 decks too, though.
yeah, like if I wanted to swap to Rainbow U7, I could technically.
Yep.
I'm not
Yep.
going to because
You don't need to.
yeah, because mono
There's no
red
reason.
just works perfectly fine.
Yep. And like the other like red U7 deck that springs to mind, U7 Gohan, it's an okay deck. Like it draws a lot, but it really just goes neutral. Like it does a lot of plus zeros, and if your opponent just swings once or twice a turn, it pluses. But if your opponent is like a deck that swings a lot, such as King Piccolo or U7, right? Like these are big decks in the meta, or even Yellow Trunks. Once it like gets off the fucking ground, like turn 3 onwards, like it can't really hold up to the current game state or the current meta state, right? So that's the other like U7 deck that springs to mind. Otherwise, you're going like to the old shit, and like the old shit is like really old. You know what I mean? That
Mhm.
shit's way outdated. At least the Gohan leader has Warriors of U7 on it. So like that one I personally like I'll play defensive and I splash in one or two Turn the Tide in that one. And
Yeah.
like turn 7 I'll just be like, you know what? Fuck your shit, you've been pissing me off. Here's a Turn the Tide. Go fuck yourself, right? Like that's a thing, right? Like you can totally do that. But like other I don't know, like this U7 Goku just feels really good. But like there are a lot of other good options in this current like meta, right? Like King Cold is fucking powerful as fuck. That is by the way one of the harder matchups for U7. You have like especially if you go second. If you go second, pray to fucking God. Like you have to play it so fucking carefully or you just fucking die like a bitch.
So what you're
It's
saying
really
is
strong.
when we do test matchups, I have to tell Charles to play his best matchup so I can get practice against it.
I mean, yeah, if you want to practice against King Cold, you should. I don't know if he has Cocoon says, but the reason King Cold is like really good is its
Yeah, I
turn
do.
2 is the best turn 2 in the game, right? But like the thing though is in that specific matchup, if they side in the Cocoon says, you have to be really careful about how you sequence anything because if they leave 2 open, you have no answer to the Cocoonsa
Mhm.
unless you run the Sin Unison and -2 and rip it out of their hand, or if you side in the Broly Crown and you rip it out of their hand. That's the
Well,
only way you can deal with it.
is that why you have the Broly's Crown in the side?
Yes, only because King Cold. That's the only.
Because
That deck was the only reason that convinced me to put him in the side.
I did the edit you recommended with putting the Sins in the side instead of the other two Jirens.
Yeah.
So you have the 4 Jirens main, 2 Sins in the side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sin is okay too against King Cold. Because the +1 could at least like wipe out like the weenies and like the coolers and all that shit. So that one's fine too. The -2 is also very helpful because you're able to rip out like their double strike deflect Frieza, their dual attacker. If they have Cocoon, so you can rip that out. So you can take out like their like boss monsters, right? And then they can't like kill you like that. Jiren is yeah, but like Jiren is nice because you have that double strike, so they have to fucking like royal supremacy early to like prevent your like their unison from losing 2 markers,
Yeah.
right? When also like on play, you can just neg their unison 10k and that's it. Like they're not gonna fucking swing with it. Like then at that point they have to like take a lot more risks. But even then, like you still need to sequence very carefully in that matchup. Like they can kill you like really hard. And like Charles, you fucking when we faced off, like you're one of the few that fucking runs that dual attacker and like multiple of it, and like that put a lot of pressure. Like that was really good. So like
Oh man, I love that card.
so good. But like that deck can really give you a run for your fucking money. Like, in all honesty.
The deck pivots really hard under a good a good controller.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
that's
very
almost
good.
any deck, though. I mean, if you have the right pilot, you're gonna potentially win.
Yeah.
Because
But
you
it's
can
just
be.
like turn 2 is so dangerous. Because if the reason it's dumb is if your opponent is on their turn 1 and you're on your turn 2 and you've awakened, you played all your fucking dudes. If they aren't careful and they took their own life aggressively to on their turn 1, you can legitimately fucking kill them turn 2 with King Cold.
Because you got to think the field card gives your leader double strike in 10k, so it's either a 20 or 25k. And if you're awake in 25k, then
35.
I can crack the same field or crack a different field, send it to the drop, and gain 10k. So it's a 35k double strike swing. And then depending on how many 20k dual attackers I have out, if I have the Terrified Realization field out and 3 other fields including that one, then all my Frieza clans gain 5k on my turn. So now it's a 25k dual attacker.
Yeah.
And the
And
unison swing. And
while
fighting
you're
against fate.
Yep, and Unison Swing and Fighting Against Fate. And then, depending on what secret rare, like I moved into Panzino, so that's a free body if there's 4 battle cards on board. And that's a 40k swing. And then, if I charismatic anything, then that is now lethal for damage on either side if I have the 4 fields out, because it gains 5k, so it's a 15k swing, not just a 10k swing. So there's a lot. There's a lot.
So how do you guys feel about each win con for every color?
Well, I think it's more like decks more than like colors overall, because like every deck has the same win con for your opponent's life to 0
Well,
for the
I'm
most
talking
part.
about like boss cards. You know how Red has Vegeta, Broly, basically cards like that.
You mean like the secret rares?
Basically, I mean, half the time your secret rares are going to be your win cons.
So when you look at red, right? Like, yeah, you have the Vegeta, of course, and like if you do red Broly BR, yeah, you got that red Broly SCR, right? But like red has enough threats, right? Like every red archetype I've ever seen has some crazy like boss monster in the archetype itself that does stupid fucking shit that either just swings so fucking hard or burns your opponent or fucking traps them in some bullshit fucking loop that they just can't fucking get around, right? So like red in terms of boss monsters and like end game threats, it's fine, right? The thing about like when you look at black, black has an issue where its boss monsters come out really early in the game, which is good, and they are consistently strong, but like at the highest power levels, they lose a lot of fucking steam, right? They're not like 40k fucking triple strikers. Like the closest thing is like that new booby Kai SCR that's a 50, like with the servant it's a 50k double striker, right? Like that's pretty high power. The SS4 Gogeta thwarting the 35k triple attacker, that was pretty good. And like there's that quad striker, the 40, like what is it, the 30 or 40 quad strike fucking 5 cost one that Rainbow Bardock runs. But like other than like those 3, overall, other than thwarting, like it's and then thwarting SS3, right? Everything else that like black runs is like they're good, but they're not like, oh, instant win, I win the game boss monsters, right? They're just good cards they can play out super early that just let you put a lot of pressure, but they're not like, yo, this is an instant win fucking card here, bro. Like
For
this
them,
is
it's
like
more like
get
engine pieces.
exactly. Obviously Pan is fucking stupid. Kai is fucking stupid. The utility they give is fucking like off the fucking charts. Like that's a no-brainer. Even like Heron's Lineage is a black card technically, and that one also had insane utility. And it's a budget-friendly card that also can just straight up win you games, right? Like they have like really high utility cards for their secret rares, and like their normal boss monsters are like just earlier cards, but they run out of like gas later on, right?
Yeah.
You look at yellow. Yellow is very lacking in endgame boss monsters. Like they have some, like I'm talking mono yellow, not blue yellow. Blue yellow is its own fucking thing, but like mono yellow, like the closest thing to a proper mono yellow boss monster is either that double strike Frieza, the 5 cost, the one with the fleck blocker, wipes the board, has the double strike, all that bullshit. The Bergamo, the triple attack Bergamo, that like rests fucking shit, and then that new Vegeta Trunk super rare, that Atrop, the one that can become a triple strike crit, 35k, right? Like those are like true boss monsters that yellow has that are like really threatening end game. But like that's it, right? They have good mid game. Like yellow's early game is kind of meh. They don't have too many like scary early like turn 1, turn 2 threats, but then their turn 3 is when shit gets a lot scarier because they start spamming out Turles, they start spamming all these other cards that like do a lot of pressure, right? So
Yeah.
that's where like yellow's boss monsters is more in the mid game than the late game. Their late game options are not the most explosive. They have a few explosive cards, but they can be answered quite well. Except the Frieza. The Frieza's fucking stupid. But like, oh, and of course, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the Dragon Strike. What's it called? Dragon Fist Goku.
Yeah. Dragon
That
Fist is
that one is
annoying.
a legitimate fucking boss monster. That one is like really fucking good, really well designed card, and honestly very balanced because you need to have a unison out and you need to spirit boost, and it's only playable turn 4 onward. So that is the other like proper boss monster that yellow has, and it's really good at what it does. But like they don't have too many, but the ones they have are very good, right? If you
Yeah.
look at blue yellow, like blue yellow right now is like in a weird spot because they fucking like they nerfed a lot of shit from blue yellow.
Yeah.
Like they banned that Bojack card straight up when they should have just leader locked it in all honesty, but whatever. But when you look at like blue yellow boss monsters, all you have now is like the Zamasu. Either you're doing the Zamasu Ramp Burn or you're doing the fucking Zamasu Wish shit. So like its boss monsters are legitimately good, but it's like very archetype focused, and it's either you're ramping your opponent to burn them or you're doing the wish bullshit at this point, right? Like that's all blue yellow has, and I mean, some people run Power Patara because it's fun, but like not many people do. There was U6 that had like Universe 6 had its own like blue yellow boss monster shit, but honestly, it's just not good enough right now, unfortunately, because other shit is just better. But like, it
there's
just
Charles'
sucks.
ass over here running the Mira SCR in his deck.
Mirror SCR is fantastic. That card's actually really good. It's really fucking dumb.
Surprisingly for its price.
It's really, really
It's,
good.
it's very, very underrated.
Very,
Very,
very
very
underrated.
underrated.
Yeah, because
As long as I run 3 or more unisons or a defensive deck to the point where I can only run 2, like only need to run 2, like in my Wish Zamasu deck, I will probably forever run that in yellow.
Yeah. I'm running that in my yellow Whis. It's fucking dumb.
Because I sent my buddy the deck list that I sent that I somewhat edited your Zamasu one.
Hmm?
And he was just like, why are you running the Mira SCR? I would rather, you should probably just buy Pan or Kai.
Oh, you got $400 lying around just like that.
Exactly. See, a lot of people just underrate cards that they think are trash because they don't play those colors.
Yeah.
But they're also the ones who are not topping tournaments. They're the ones who aren't like popping off in regionals. They're the ones who like fucking drop after 3 rounds in a fucking like big tournament. So like, whatever. Like, they can say whatever the
That's
fuck
true.
they want.
That's
Like,
true.
Let's be real here.
I mean, I'm surprised to see that Cell Xeno is still a prominent SCR in the game.
It's too fucking good. It's a free play SCR. Oh, cool. I sacrifice cards. You mean a mechanic from Yu-Gi-Oh? Who gives a shit? Cool. I tribute summon and win the game.
I remember when that shit first came out and it was like $300.
Yeah, don't remind me. I made a trade with our team the Canadian side team captain, Jodat. I traded my Sin Zeno at the time and paid in $250 cash. Valuation was at $500, and I got it off him. And now like you can buy the fucking like
Reprint for $18?
$15, $18, and I'm sitting like, fuck my life. I basically spent $500 to get this one ass tier, like this motherfucking card, and now like everyone's got it for like $10. What the fuck? I got fucking shafted on that one.
I mean, a lot
But
of
it's good.
a lot of the reprints for the SCRs I wasn't happy with. I mean, yours still goes for about almost $70. So I mean,
70 does not compare to 500. Like it's not even close though.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it doesn't compare, but it's not completely.
Yeah. It used to go for 800, so whatever. I mean, it literally lost like 90% of its value.
Unfortunately, I mean, it's the
Yeah.
same way with the only SCR I still have in my possession, which is the SS4 Vegeta that was reprinted.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's a good SCR. I've sniped a lot of people with that shit, honestly.
Yeah, like I have it. I just don't have a build for it.
Just play Android 16 and run it. I used to do that until I had Baby Hatch. I was running that Vegeta SCR, shitting on people left and right. Like I think one of the TCG Metalz tournament on camera, I was playing Android 16. He was playing Green Go Tanks, and on my turn 4, it's a ramp deck, right? I
Yeah.
ramped and I had already ramped, and on my turn 4, he was at 6 life, and I swear to you, I took this man from 6 to 0 life with that Vegeta SCR. Like, it was fucking hilarious on stream.
Shoot me that list later. But what
Yeah.
what tips do you have for newer players?
Newer players, practice your basics, practice your foundations, understand to not overcommit when you combo, understand the sweet spots of everything, right? Know what your opponent's running and understand where their sweet spots are too, right? So for example, if you're facing King Piccolo on your first swing, you know 1,000,000% they're going to do the activate battle because it's going to let them play a battle card. Why the fuck wouldn't they? They play a battle card and they draw off piano. It's literally free for them, right? So if you want to actually threaten them in terms of damage and make it so they go -1 in hand at least, so that the draw is a net 0 instead of a +1, you need to combo to 20k at least, right? On your first swing. After you do the activate battle, every swing after that can be a 15k, and you don't have to give a rat's ass. It doesn't matter, right? That's the first thing, right? For those types of matchups, right? So you need to know where your opponent's leader is most vulnerable and what their combo power capabilities are, right?
Yeah.
Like, for example, when you face Android 16, once per turn, similar to KP, from Grave, you can combo with a blue-green Android, right? And the ones you choose are 10Ks. So you know on your first swing, because when you're doing that swing, they can arrival from energy. So you know they're going to play a creature no matter what. So you need to first make sure what you're swinging with is you're either doing it to bait out their rival that kills something, so you're doing it intentionally so that they kill the card you're swinging with already, so you're just baiting something, or if you're swinging, you need to make sure it's at least 25k so that they have to go -1 in hand, right? So you need to know those sweet spot numbers in terms of where you can pressure your opponent, because the game, no matter what, since from what I've seen since forever, is it still is a game of attrition where whoever has the biggest hand typically wins. So you want to make it where your actions are always making it where your opponent is going at least -1, -2, -3, right? If my opponent wastes 1 mana, uses petrification, and discards a card to stop one of my attacks, as long as I have not tapped out and I can defend myself on their crackback, that's fine by me because they've gone -2 in hand, right? If they try to Oceanus Floodgate me, right? They tap 2 mana and they play the Oceanus Negate and they discard 1, and I'm able to counter that response, I've gone extremely plus because they've gone -2 in energy, -2 in hand, only done 1 negate attack, lost the Floodgate, and I went -1 in hand, get a body on board, and continue to do my win condition, right?
Yeah. That's fair
So
enough.
it's very much it's not obvious, but a lot of math is involved here. You just need to know my hand is bigger. How do I make their hand smaller? Do this, do that, right? Make sure if I can do something for free, do it for free. Why not? If you can get away with something, get away with something. But make sure you're not compromising your hand advantage too heavily to reduce theirs, unless you know it's gonna do something good, right?
Yeah.
And also don't overcommit stupidly. That's the big thing. Dumping your hand to get a double strike in when your opponent's at 4 life makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
Unless
If
you
they're-
have magically a card that burns them for 2.
Yeah, right? It doesn't make sense. Now, if you're playing for example, because obviously you're trying to get into U7, right? So if you're playing U7 and you have a double striker like Jiren on board, and your opponent's at 3 life, you swing with your Jiren, and you're knowing they're playing a deck that can't just activate battle, remove a marker from your unison so he loses the double strike. That's not a thing that'll happen. Some decks that is a thing, and you have to be careful. And some decks that's not a thing, right? Most decks don't have a way to do that. So you can swing with your Jiren, which is already unison, which is already hard for most decks to deal with. Swing in, and if they don't negate it, you can dump your hand there, and once the damage goes through, you just pay 4, play the Vegeta SCR, and burn him for their last life, right? That is a clear win con. That's where it's okay to dump your hand. That's fine, right? Going for game to hard force your opponent to dump their hand, and then you hold on to that overwhelm fighting against fate to go for that last bit of damage, that's okay, right?
Yeah.
Or holding on to your 2 energy having Champa in hand, like 1 energy having Champa in hand and fighting its fate, or even the old times, like you're pretty sure aware of this, where like people would play Mira with the Mira Champa combo, like that. You can still do that. Yeah, it's a 2 energy combo, but you can still do that, right? And same fucking concept, right? You
Yeah.
force your opponent to dump their fucking hand to reduce the amount of combo power they have, reduce the amount of negates they have, and then you go in with like this 1-2 combo of bullshit, right? Like it's still legitimately a good fucking play, the Mira Champa, even though it costs 2 mana, because the Mira has deflect, right? So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's still
I was
okay.
testing that for a while in Zamasu, and I tested that. I tested Food Dark Banisher, and for me, the amount of swings that I can get off on when I want to on turn 7 is one of those things where I just rather play a free 25k dual attacker.
Well,
I,
4 mana, but yeah.
I mean, the reason that in some decks that's not an issue though, like Broly hand control, a lot of your cards have critical, so you can just pump your
Yep.
Broly, the 7-drop, the Ravager. Say you're running Champas, put those.
Yep.
Go with the pressure. Hold on to as many cards as you can with your combo. Because my list, I'm running Jiren Army of One.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I can just combo with most of my hand, play that for free.
Yep.
And then I also have
Yeah.
the Fighting Against Fate Bardock in case I need to put a little more
I
pressure.
love that card. That's the one. That's the overall I run now.
Yeah,
I brought it back to Bardock because it's just overall a better card.
Yeah, I copped one myself because a lot of decks I've noticed on DBS-Deckplanet are running at least one copy of it.
It's too good. Like, if you can afford it, though, the best split in terms of overall is one Fighting Against Fate and at least one Secret Identity Mass Saiyan, because Secret ID can legitimately get you out of an unwinnable situation. If you're playing against decks that go stupidly wide with a lot of weenies, being able to like snipe 2 to 3 to, if they're running token spam, infinite amount of battle cards on their board with just that one overwhelm for 0 fucking mana and get a 25k single strike can literally be one of the most game breaking things in the game, right? It's always about value, right? I pay 0 mana, I play a card, I kill your board for nothing. That board that you spent your mana playing, and you can't use it again because it's now in the warp when you're playing a deck that can't reestablish shit from the warp. Now what the fuck do you do, right? So
I'll have to look into that then, because
I would highly recommend, if you're running 2 overwhelms, go one Fighting Against Fate, one Secret ID. That is my suggestion always.
You've seen
If
my
you can do
Broly
it.
list. I mean, I'm running the Ravager, and then in my side I have another Ravager, so
Yeah.
that's burst 3 for each one, so I
Yeah.
can fill my drop easily.
Yep. But that's my biggest suggestion always. Because the other reason Secret ID is useful is, let's say late game you're trying to push for game and they use that stupid token negate, right? And you know they have like no cards left in hand, but
Evil
you only
clones.
have like the evil clones or whatever the fuck, right? But let's say you have like you're on like basically you only have your overwhelm left and they've just used their final negate, which is the token negate, right? Because Secret ID just warps right away, you can just clear the fucking token and you can just continue doing whatever the fuck you're doing, right? You
Yeah.
can remove those blockers, which Fighting Against Fate can't do, right? Because that can literally be the difference. Because some decks they will do stupid shit, especially like green decks, where like you'll swing, they'll fucking dormant, and then they'll block with like a Zarbon or some shit, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, here's a token negate by the way, and GG well played, get fucked, right? And then
Yeah.
now what do you do, right? So you have to be very like that's where like high value stuff is important. And then even when it comes to crit, don't even bother comboing on your crit swings unless you're trying to like hard push for damage. Crit is basically discard. You're
Yeah.
already putting your opponent in a shitty spot where you put him like so like if you do want to push for a bit of damage, if you're like let's say something with like a 15k crit, combo to 20 and that's it. Don't combo anymore. Because you went -1 in hand, but the way to view it is because crit damage puts the card in like from life to drop, it's basically a discard. If they out combo it, like if you go 20k, right, and you're swinging at their 15k leader, unless they super combo, they have to go -2 in hand
Yeah.
to not take the crit damage, as opposed to if they take the crit damage, they're basically going -1 because that card would have gone to hand. Now it isn't, right? So you can view it as if them going -1 in hand and -1 life. So they either go -2 in hand or they go basically -1 life, -1 in hand because it would have gone to life, right? If you just combo to 20k crit, and that's it. That's
Yeah.
all you need to do. Don't commit higher. No point. And the Ravagers are what 30k crits already by default. So like
25,
even for
I thought?
the starter deck
No,
probably is
30k.
like which one am I
30k.
thinking?
No, 30k. You're right.
30k crits, right? Like even that, like you have no reason to combo. They have to answer you unless you're trying to like hard pressure them and make it so they have no hand by like using a chomp and like combination with that. That's completely different. Because I do that to people with
Yeah, because
the
in my sideboard I put Champa and the
yeah.
Supreme Kai that gives double strike.
Yeah, exactly, right? So like you're like, yeah, here's a 40k. They're like, yeah, here's a 30k crit. They're like, oh, the 40k, 30k crit. That's already annoying. Ah, fuck. No
Here's a
negate. I
40k
have no
crit with double strike. Deal with
yeah,
that.
and then you're like, yeah, I know. But the thing is, they don't know until you go into the combo
Yeah, I know,
phase,
because
right?
you gotta wait for a
Yeah,
response for counter.
right. So then once they let it through, you're like, yeah, here's a 40 double crit. I do the same thing with my Gogeta Xeno. I don't have Vegeta Feign Greeting, that fucking promo, the one that warps a card in hand. I'm not spending $80 for it. Fucking, oh, I warp a card in hand. No, I just run the fucking Overwhelm Vegeta that you pay 1 mana, and he's a 30k crit that wipes like add up to total cost 4. Literally, so on swing, he's the same effect as Secret ID being played, except Secret ID hits total cost adding up to 6, whereas he hits adding up to 4 on swing. And like if they let the swing through, it's like, all right, here's a Champa and I'm dumping my hand. Oh look, you have to fucking out combo this bitch. Sorry.
Yeah.
Right. So like, yeah.
I understand focusing on your hand size because Jiren, because with the green Broly I'm playing, it's more of the slow burn game kind of.
Mhm.
Because Jiren, you already know what that does, right? The army
Yep.
one. Yeah.
Yep.
Basically, just use my entire hand for combos, and then during untap step, 4 energy. All right, here's a quad strike dual attack
Yep. Yep.
at 35.
Yeah, 35 quad. Yeah, that's pretty fucking good. Pretty good. But like, that's all there is really to it, right? Like you just have to like know the math, understand your curve, know your win cons, understand how your opponent's gonna win. Which obviously, if you're new, you're not gonna know what every fucking deck does. But I mean, you can look at like the decks that are topping regionals, and you can pretty much have a gist of how they work. Understand what your lose conditions are and what your win conditions are, right? And like that's the biggest thing is knowing what causes you to lose the game and what doesn't lose you the game, right?
Because I
Be
mean,
wary of using one-ups.
Because it can be like generally anything that making you lose the game. You're overextending yourself. You're not paying
Exactly.
attention to card interactions.
Exactly. It could just be a bad matchup. It could be anything, a silver bullet, right? But you need to understand what causes you to lose the games and mitigate that. Obviously, you can't have an answer to everything. And like I know my U7 list, I know I run a lot of one-ups, but I also go through my deck a lot, so it's okay because I go through my deck a fuck ton. I can get away with having a lot of one-ups. But like a lot of decks, you can't just get away with having one-ups, right? You need two-ups, you need two of this, two of that, three of this, four of that, yada yada. So you need to like be very mindful of like every interaction that you can
I was about to say
and
we
just
don't
mitigate.
have a lot of one ofs, and then I remember that it's mostly our extra cards. Some of our extra cards
Yeah.
that are just one ofs.
My tech options are one ofs, right? Like the main engine is for
Yeah.
but like my tech options are all one ofs. But because like I go through my deck so much, it doesn't really matter. I either see them, and if I don't, I don't. I just play around that fact, right? They to me are just bonus. They help me. They don't. I'm not gonna win or lose. Like, oh, some matchups, yeah, it could be win or lose if you don't see it, but like, it's very specific situations that you've got yourself in, right?
Yeah.
Half the time when you lose, like when you properly lose, it's A, your opponent playing well, and B, you misplaying as well, right? Otherwise, the game goes like turn fucking like 6 or 7, and then you know it's like been a close game. That doesn't matter. Like close games are close games, but like when something's a stomp, part of it is yeah, your opponent playing well, but a big part of it is also the decisions you chose that got yourself in that situation, right?
Yeah.
So like that is also another thing to always like understand is the improvement mentality of like if I fuck up, if I lose, well how do I improve? Even if I win, what could I do better next time? What do I do in this situation next time that would be more effective? Do I hard commit more? Do I play more aggressive? Do I play more defensive? Do I cast this card instead of this card? Do I sequence like this? Do I sequence like that? Those are like always things that, like, in my mind, they're always going in my fucking head. And I'm someone who plays like 50 plus fucking decks. Like, I literally, like, not today, but probably tomorrow, I'm probably gonna make like another 1 or 2 decks just for fucking fun. Especially like
Yeah.
after this weekend is done for that first UW tournament. Like,
Yeah,
I'm literally just always thinking of new things, new interactions, new this, new that, right? Always think about what else you can do.
I mean,
what
I'm
else can I do
literally
different?
coming back from a 2-year hiatus from this game, and I'm already
Yeah.
building 4 decks.
Right? Like, there you go, right? That's the beauty of this game, right? Eternal format and just flexibility to build where the fuck you want, right?
That's one thing I do love about this game. There's no main focus
No
on
rotation.
rotation.
Yeah. Rotations are nice when certain metas get really stupid and certain, like, broken fucking, like, archetypes just last the whole fucking period of the game. But,
Yeah,
like, they're also not the worst.
yeah, you can see that like really heavily in like Magic or Pokemon, where those are types of
Yeah.
games where you need the rotation format.
Yeah. Force of Will used to have a rotation as well. That shit was, yeah, those were the wild times. That game had some stupid shit, bro. Like, I'm talking like I could like, they had like turbo decks where, like, I'm literally getting, like, in that game we had flyers and shit where, like, turn 2, if you sequence properly, you were legitimately getting like 4 to 6 fucking 12/12 flyers on board turn 2. And then you just pass your opponent because there's summoning sickness. You just pass your opponent, and they're just like, "What the fuck do I do? I play this and pass. All right, I'm swinging lethal. GG, well played, scrub."
I mean, it
Like,
could be worse. It could be like Light Seekers, where they ban like a majority of their sets
yep, yep,
and then just make their game unplayable.
yep.
So I
Yeah.
mean, we have to be thankful that we have a decently settled format with Bandai Namco.
Yeah. No, the game's alright. Like, the game's fine. I don't think there's anything, like, inherently wrong with the game. I do not like how they give the yellow so much fucking love. They should give some other colors some more love. But this next set seems overall a little bit better.
Yeah, Charles.
Green is definitely looking a lot better. Red, they took a step back with red because they, like, U7 in my opinion is like a perfectly designed red deck. Black Drunks in my opinion, even though I don't like the deck much, I think it's a perfectly designed black deck. Like, it's just right in terms of balance where it's strong, draws a lot, does a lot of good stuff, but it's just there on the cusp of, like, bullshit tier, but it's not. Like, it's just there. Same with U7. Like, I know U7 is a very strong deck, it's a very linear deck, but it still is, I pay mana to play my shit, no free play. Half my stuff has limit. And the stuff that doesn't, I'm tapping out 4 fucking mana. So if I fucking commit, I have to commit, right?
Yeah.
So, like, that's fair. If I'm tapping 4 fucking mana, it better be fucking good and worth it, right?
Yeah,
And that's
exactly.
any fucking deck. If you're tapping 4, it better be fucking worth the trouble. That's any fucking deck in this game, period. You tap out, it better be fucking worth it.
Oh, that's just any card in any game where you have to
Period.
pay cost.
Exactly, right? But, like, yellow has been getting a little too much love. Although yellow next set, like, okay, yellow Piccolo, no, yellow Piccolo is fucking cracked the fuck out, right? But, like, green got some good love. Like, cooler is fucking amazing. That unison spam archetype is utter bullshit. Like, that shit is way too fucking strong. The testing me and Charles did, yeah, that deck can literally kill you turn 3 without any fucking effort. That deck is really, really fucking good. It's finally what green needed, like, 100%. But, like, I also, like, understand to an extent why they've always been shitting on green so much at the same time, which is because when you look at green, right? Like, before, green was okay, it was fine, but then, like, they introduced shit like dormant, right?
Yeah.
And when you have a free play hard floodgate that makes it so one has one more swing for the fucking turn, that also can wipe out tokens, by the way, in a color that also is notorious for wiping the hand and killing shit on the board. So you're clearing the board, you're hard floodgating, and you're making them go minus in hand, right?
Mhm.
What do? You can't dare give that archetype good boss monsters. You can't dare give that archetype, like, high aggro bullshit, because if you do, they just fucking win everything. How do you actually respond to that, right? So I get why they've been so, like, stingy on green, as unfortunate as it is. They just need to understand you need to give up something here. Like, I personally feel dormant should have never been fucking printed because it stagnated green.
Yeah, because
You,
the
you
the moment you see any hand control deck, you're gonna see Dormant in that list.
I mean, every green deck runs dormant. Shit, King Cold, which is not a hand control deck, it's an aggro deck, still runs dormant. At least at a 2 of. Right, Charles?
Yeah.
Right? At least 2 of, right?
I blame
And
the
that's
Ariza
a high
players.
aggro. A hard floodgate for nothing is really strong, right? So, like the only card that is stronger realistically, is Baby Hatch, a blue card that costs like $200+, as opposed to like a $10 green card. Like, come on, like,
and you can
Nah,
only run
Dormants
one of
gone up,
them.
didn't they?
sorry,
Didn't Dormants go up?
did they? The event pack, like, they didn't go up that. Like, it's not like before. Like, they used to go for like 60 or $80 each. Like, it was stupid. That's like $15, $10. Like, it's not as bad.
Market is like 15.
That's not bad. I mean, compared to 60 to $80 a single copy.
I do like that
Wait.
alternate art, but
Yeah, it's not as bad, right? So like green, like green XZ is looking good, but green can get some more love. Like the thing now is like they printed a lot of cards that green has like good mid game cards, green has good early game cards, and green has, in my opinion, some of the best secret rares in the fucking game. Like think about it, Victory Strike is technically green. That's already fucking iconic as shit. You have Counter Boo, which is fucking amazing. You have Kibito Kai, which is amazing. You have the Ape SCR, which is amazing. You have Wicked Saiyans, which is amazing. You have Cell Xeno, which is amazing. Like, I'm sorry, but like all their green SCRs are legitimately fucking solid as fuck. Like, they don't need any more SCRs. Like, all of them are good. There's not one of them that's bad. Yeah, they're good at different things, but they all are good cards that you would not like. You wouldn't feel bad running any of them. Like
Yeah.
honestly,
because I mean, you guys saw my list. I run Ape SCR
it's fantastic.
in my hand control.
So good.
Yeah.
Like seriously, like I can't think of a bad green SCR. They're all fucking good.
Yeah.
Like not one of them is bad, right?
I disagree with that, and the majority of me is a green player.
The only thing that green is missing is good boss monsters, and the only green deck right now that has good green boss monsters is yet again King Cold, where it doesn't even fucking need it. You don't even need that golden Frieza, and it still has it. It's bonus. It doesn't even need that shit.
That's true. That's true.
That's the only one. The rest of them have fucking nothing. I'm sorry, like other than like that and OG Broly, which they don't even run that shit. They don't even run their boss monster. I'm sorry, all the other green decks don't have like good boss monsters because they're just like shitty single strikers. That's it. Like who gives a fuck? Like
Yeah.
I guess green Go tanks, yeah, they have a lot of dual attackers and they can play that double strike Go tanks, but they're usually doing dual attacks, right? Dual attack does 1 damage, right? It's 1 damage each time. It's different. It still isn't a boss monster, and it's a card you play like turn 2 or turn 3, right? It isn't your end game boss, right? The closest thing they have, other than like the Frieza, is that 5 cost of Ribrianne, the triple striker that wipes the board, but has no protection. And you're tapping 5 motherfucking mana for the card, and like it still isn't enough. The only other card that springs to mind as a boss monster is the Vegeta Unison, the crit double, that board wipe, the one for 4 energy.
Yeah,
Right.
the SS Peerless Fusion.
The Vegeta.
Yeah, it's SS3 or SS2 Vegito Peerless Fusion.
No.
No, he's talking about Resolute
the
Agent of
Majin
Destruction.
Vegeta. The Majin Vegeta.
The AOD one.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like think about it. Like that is the only other like proper boss monster you can think of for like green, where it's like, yeah, I tap 4 and I know this is gonna like swing the game in favor, right? Like that card is a boss monster. You play that, you know your opponent's like, oh shit, this guy's running that fucking card. Fuck my life.
I mean, I'm running that as a one of in my hand control.
I like it, honestly. I like it as a one of in majority of my green decks.
Yeah, it's fantastic, right? But like that is green's like other like generic boss monster, and it's a fucking Unison, right? Other decks, like I'm sorry, but like other green decks don't have much. Cooler's good. Cooler's fantastic, and the stuff for Cooler is gonna go into a lot of decks. It's gonna be fucking great, right? But like other green decks don't have fucking shit. Like I literally was playing Dredgeku the other day, and like I made a cool list. I have this really fun Dredgeku list that I can't. But like, bro, like even with that, and I literally like I'm ripping out cards from my opponent's hand, making us have 0 cards, and then I realized, oh shit, I have no fucking like end game potential. I ripped their hand out, but they still got 8 fucking life. What do? I don't know.
What do I do with my life?
You have nothing. You literally have fucking nothing at all, right? And then you look at blue, and blue got fucking like wrecked. Like I'm sorry, but like Soul Striker needs to go because blue is not getting enough love anymore, right?
Isn't
Like
that
SS4 Vegeta's good, Bojack is good. Like there are good blue decks, but it always comes back to why am I playing this when I can play Soul Striker? But then you get in this shitty loop of like, yeah, I'm playing Soul Striker, but Soul Striker doesn't fucking do anything in the first 2 fucking turns. It does shit turn 3 onwards, but by then it's already too late. But like, what else do you consider running? Like, Blue Vegito's okay in my opinion because that one can literally flip like turn fucking 1 and can turn any unison in the game into a proper boss monster. But then you still go back to I still need to run a lot of 1-drops that have blockers. Like you're taking up a lot of deck space to get that benefit, right? Like, just to get that engine, you're gonna need to run at least 8 1-drops that have blocker to like properly be able to awaken early. So that already is like neg in that aspect. You need to run a good amount of unisons in that deck because the main draw, other than like the early awaken, is the fact that you can make any unison a boss monster because you just give it triple strike, right? So you need like more than an average amount of unison. So like that's already at least 16 to 20 deck space already used just for that deck. And that's a good deck, right? You look at SS4 Vegeta, that one as well, like the whole deck is basically like based around its own engine, hit good, ramp a lot, but even then you're like shit, I need 4 UI combo, I need 4 Beerus attacks, I need 4 fucking Zeno super combo, I need 4 of this Borgos, 4 of this fat lady. Like half your deck is just dedicated to your leader doing damage to make your deck functional. Like just to make your deck work, you have to run half your deck to enable your deck, which is like fucking weird when you think about it, right?
It's a little ignorant.
I mean, we're not.
That's probably one of the only reasons why I don't like the deck, to be honest.
I mean, we're not saying don't play blue. But
It's
if you're gonna
just
play
not fun.
blue, just be careful.
Yeah,
Because-
blue got fucked. Yeah, and then like you look at Blue Bojack, which is a fantastic deck. I love Blue Bojack. That deck is really fun, extremely pilot heavy, very sequence heavy, high skill cap deck. Like it's extremely high skill to play that fucking deck properly. I love the fuck out of that deck. It's a fucking fantastic deck. But even then, that deck has no barrier removal. And I'm sorry, but like when you face red, literally, I asked Big O this. I literally asked Big O notation, what do you fucking do about the fact that red, I can play everything perfectly, and red can just play the Vegeta SER? And he's like, hope to God they don't draw it. That's my answer. Hope my opponent doesn't draw it.
Here's the issue: is if you're going against U7 and they have the fucking SCR and they mill it, they're just gonna use leader skill to grab it back.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So the only answer you have is like, sorry, the only way you have really to deal with that like whole situation anyways is on your turn 4 onwards, don't fucking tap out 4 to play your 8-drop Bojack until after they play the Vegeta. Once they play the Vegeta and clear your fucking board, then pay 4 and play your Bojack and start fucking with them. That's the only like way to really sequence, and even then it's still fucking rough. It's still not easy. So like even that deck, and it's a fun fucking deck, and it's a really good fucking deck, it still struggles. Like that struggles. Soul Striker struggles. Like it really fucking does. And when like, oh, this is Soul Striker, the deck that can go heavy mono blue, a lot of bullshit. The deck that can go blue yellow and do a lot of bullshit. The deck that can go blue red and do a lot of bullshit. Like
bullshit.
I'm like, what? And this deck fucking struggles. Right? Even Invoker. Like, Invoker is a good fucking deck, and if you're a really good pilot and you have that new 17 promo, like that deck can be tier fucking 1 to tier 0, right? But even that deck, like me playing U7, I personally have not lost once to it, but I also have made my sideboard in a specific way where I don't lose to that deck. Where the only way they can fucking kill me is to legitimately get me to 5 life and then play all 4 of the Gokus and have a cat blow in hand and burn me for 5 instants. That is the only way they can consistently fucking kill me. And that requires them to have a god hand of having all 4 of those Gokus in hand and the setup and pray that I don't answer the setup at any fucking point. That is the only way.
Yeah, I see that.
Like, blue is in a shit spot. Like mind you, that Crimson Goku, like the one that came second in regional, that shit looks really fun. I think that's a cool deck. I think that's a cool ass fucking deck. But I think a big part of it was also like the surprise factor. People just didn't know how to deal with it because
Didn't know
it
what the
kind
leader did.
exactly because the leader like puts 5 cards under, and then you can activate battle and combo with a card underneath it for like plus 2k, and if you combo 3 of them, he gets plus 5k, and you get to untap one battlefield. Fantastic. But realistically, you have 5 uses of your activate battle, which I mean, that can be quite a lot depending on what you face. But all it really means is I just need to combo to 20k, just like facing a King Piccolo deck. If I combo to 20, you have to go -1 in hand, because if you just combo 17, if I've gone to 20, I don't give a shit, right? If I combo to 25, you're still gonna have to go -2 in hand. It doesn't fucking matter. But if I just keep doing shitty 15k swings, you're like, I'm just gonna keep using activate battle and combo for 2k and get fucked, right? Like, it makes sense. Like, I understand how the deck works, and that deck is kind of cool. Like, I kind of want to try it out. Like, I'm pretty to try it because I think that one's like really fucking cool. But like, even then, it's just like, if you just understand the concept that this is basically a blue King Piccolo deck, it's a blue aggro deck that can defend itself how KP defends itself. Just fucking be mindful of the fact that you need to combo to 20 or higher, and you're golden. The only other blue deck that fucking matters is Android 16. And like, if your name isn't fucking Jared, I'm sorry, but like, that shit, or like, I guess some of our teammates are really good 16 players too. And like, I like 16 too. I think it's a very good deck. Because it has good hand control, has burn elements, has aggro elements, can deal with unison based strategies. It does a lot of fucking shit. It's a really good fucking GS and has a lot of good arrivals, a lot of good combo power, very defensive against decks that only swing once per turn. It's really good. However, it also can struggle against U7. If your name isn't Jared, I don't know how you survive that shit. Because the only way I've been able to survive is 16 against U7 is to aggressively ramp to 8 mana to play the fucking H-Drop 17-18 that wipes the board, and I get to rip cards out of their hand. That's the only like way I personally have been able to deal with U7 as Android 16. But that is, in my opinion, still one of the best blue decks in the game, and it's a blue-green deck. It's a blue deck, right? So like,
Yeah.
that's like, it's the exception to the rule, because it does like good blue stuff, but also the good green stuff. It does the best of both worlds, right? It runs the best blue cards: Hatch, Majin Blue, D Magic, Sensu Bean, right? Those are like the best blue cards, and then it runs like good green elements such as Zamasu, the 7 drops of discarder as well, right? You run the 18 super combo, right? Like, you have good aspects of hand control, with Zamasu being like the best hand control card because it's so hard to remove, and you still have the good blue-green stuff in there too, with the good arrivals, that KO shit, that search for shit, that ramp, that fucking wipe unisons, that restand themselves, have revenge blockers, normal blockers with revive. Like, there's a lot of fucking good shit in that deck. It does a fucking like a fucking metric ton of shit. It's a good deck, right? But everything else, you look at it, it's like you look at other blue decks and you're just like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, you look at that, like, what was it? What were they trying to like peddle to us? That fucking deck, the one where you can be like a 40k double striker. Cool, I can be a 40 double striker. What happens if my opponent runs 1 blocker? I guess I'm fucked.
I guess I die.
I guess I can't do anything. Same with SS4 Vegeta. I play 1 blocker. Guess what? You're not getting through. Like, it gets scuffed. Like, honestly, some fucking decks just don't have a fucking out, and like blue, unfortunately, got fucking shoehorned because the only other good blue deck was Blue Baby, and that shit was bullshit to the point that they fucking errated it because it was bullshit. 18 mil,
deck.
18 mil that my teammate came first with got fucking errata nerfed because he spent 2 years coming up with the most crap build, and then somebody fucking cried about it because they lost to him in the final, and they fucking got the fucking deck banned a week later. Like, what? Like, the only other like good blue decks, the Blue Baby and 18 mil got fucked too. And like, even then, like, what do you have then? The color got fucked, right? And black is getting fucked in a different way. Black has good decks, but every black deck you look at, other than like, literally every black deck you look at, you're like, yeah, this is good, but Gogeta Xeno just does it better. You look at Black Trunks, it's a very good deck, but guess what? Gogeta Xeno does it better. You look at fucking SS4 Bardock, Rainbow Bardock is good, but why are you playing this when you just play Gogeta Xeno?
Yeah.
Why are you playing SS4 Goku when you can play Gogeta Xeno? The only other black deck that like is the exception is Hatch, and Hatch is not a normal black deck. That is a heavy control deck that runs heavy hand control and can splash in like thwarting and shit, right? Like, that's a completely different deck. It runs on a completely different curve than other decks, right? That one's different, right? And you look at Mecha Kabura, which is like another like it's a good black deck. It just needs like 1 or 2 more cards to give that final push to be overpowered. Because that deck has a lot of good shit too. But even then, you just look at yourself and it's like, yeah, that's pretty good, but Gogeta Xeno. You look at Vegeta, that's not bad, but Gogeta Xeno, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's the Soul Striker issue. It's basically, like I was saying earlier, because of how good that leader is,
Why would you play anything else?
why play anything else? It's just like blue. Why am I going to play any of these other blue decks other than Soul Striker? Oh, okay. Android 16 and Blue Bojack are their own thing, so like those are the exceptions. But almost every other blue deck, you're like, why am I playing this when I can just play Soul Striker? Why does it matter? Give me Soul Striker. I want to do a skillless build, Soul Striker. I want to do crit Nimba bullshit, give me Soul Striker. I want to do blue Gogeta Fusion, give me Soul Striker. I want to do this, just give me Soul Striker. I want to do blue yellow U6 Arrival, just give me Soul Striker. Why play Kaba? Why play the older ones? Fuck that shit. Like, what?
Yeah.
There's a red blue Soul Striker build that does the cat blow bullshit that Invoker wants to do better than Invoker, and people only stop playing it because that stupid Android 17 promo came up that is like complete uninteractable. That is the only reason people switched. If that card didn't get printed, nobody's playing Invoker, they're playing red blue Soul Striker. Like, it took a absolutely broken card that like is completely uninteractable to fucking make it to convince people to go back to Invoker, and it's still struggling. Like,
Yeah.
what? Like,
Invoker's
there's
one of those
problem
decks where
leaders.
you gotta have like a big brain to play it in order to be good with it.
And even then, it can still not be worth the trouble. Like, there's decks that it's not worth the fucking effort or trouble or money to fucking pick up or learn, compared to like other decks where it's just like, yeah, I just do this, and I fucking win. As opposed to, I gotta do this and this and this and this and this and this and I gotta survive this. I gotta survive. Like, bro, like, why strain myself like that? Especially when you're playing in like tournaments and shit, like regionals, like best of 1 or best of 3. Like, if you're going 7 rounds, 8 rounds, like best of 1, it's already like tiring because that's already like 7 hours there. Best of 1, right? That's stressful already because if you make one mistake, that's it. That's your only chance, right? And if you fucked it up, you fucked it up. But even with best of 3, you're playing 3 times the amount of games potentially for like the same amount of time or even longer. That's mentally straining. And if I'm gonna have to spend 8+ hours playing the same fucking deck all day, potentially playing 21+ games, and it's fucking Invoker, where I have to fucking break
Big
my
brain
brain
it.
cells like every fucking game, because every fucking game is a heavy coin flip of, man, if I just do this and this and this and 5 turns straight, maybe I survive and maybe I kill my opponent. Like, that is fucking ridiculous. There's some decks just not worth the trouble. Invoker's a cool ass deck. I want to pick it up, but I'm not spending $4,000 on it anyways. But like, there's just decks that are not worth the trouble, and there's decks that are worth the trouble, right? And that one, it just doesn't make sense.
Charles?
But
Element?
for like a week, I was just like, I'm done with Zamasu. Because it's one of those decks where it's just big brain. Like, you have to. To me, this deck is a lot harder to pilot than like Mecha or Mecha Frieza, for instance.
Mhm.
And I just love the deck. Like, it's just so much fun to me. Like, watching my opponent think they're gonna do stuff, and then I just tap down 6 cards in a turn.
Mhm.
Like,
But
that
can
makes
you
me
do
smile.
that 8? But can you do that 8-round straight best of 3?
That's the thing. I don't know. I mean, I do it usually like 3 to 5 rounds straight at locals, best
Sure.
of 3, which is
But
fine.
in a regional where it's high stress,
Yeah,
You-
that's what.
you know what I mean? Like, it's so mentally draining. You literally don't want to look at a card for the rest of your fucking life.
Yeah,
Yeah, I could see that.
that's why like the smartest thing a lot of people do is they just don't like the 3 days leading up to their regionals or anything like that, Nats or anything. They just don't play test. Like, they play test enough, and then they just don't touch their deck at all for like the 2 days before Nats or 2
Yeah.
days before regionals. There's just no point to it. You did all the testing you could. If you're not ready, you're not ready.
Yeah, I
Yep.
can see that. It
It's
seems
just like
kind of.
cramming for a test. If you know, you know. If you don't, well, sorry, buddy. Like,
Exactly. Like,
I mean,
I never
it's-
studied from high school, even through associate's degree in college. I never studied. I didn't open a book. My associate's degree, I bought 1 textbook, and that's because I needed the labs for chemistry. I passed Anatomy 1, Anatomy 2, and Kinesiology without buying a textbook.
I mean, if you know, you know it. I mean, that's the thing. It's your deck. You should know the ins and outs, and if you don't, then
Exactly.
maybe you should pick up a different one.
I mean, if you don't know, maybe you shouldn't fucking net deck and think for yourself.
That too.
Yeah. Shit, I built this deck from printed out proxies, and we've just been changing it and switching up the ratios ever since. You know, yeah, I've tried other people's builds, and you know they're cute and all, but to me, this is it.
I mean, that's why when it came to U7, I asked for your and Charles' input on it because
I put in the hours. Like U7,
exactly.
I put in the grind.
yeah,
a
because
lot.
net decking is fine, but at the end of the day, you're just not going to know the deck if it's not attuned to you.
Yep. I fine tuned it to my playstyle. Like I'm like the list to me, I'm about as happy as I can be with the list. The only thing I'm trying to figure out is what do I cut or what do I change to make room for Hunt of the Demon God, because I feel like that's a really nice tech to add. But even then, like I don't know what I would change.
Yeah, because the side deck is really tight.
It's like the side deck is like as good as it's gonna be in my opinion. Like almost everything is spot on. Like I don't know
Maybe
what I would
cut one
cut.
of your Sin Shenrons to 1.
No, I wouldn't even consider that. The only space I would consider cutting is the We Are U7. I might remove that and put in the Hunt. But the thing about We Are U7 was I've never used it once, right? So there is a reason why I'm willing to cut it. Is I've never legitimately had a matchup where I felt I need to run it. However, I know for a fact if I fucking run into a motherfucking Hatchiyak or some
You're gonna
other
need it.
bullshit like that, I'm gonna fucking need it. It's just in case. And if I don't have it, I'm gonna hate myself for not having it. It's literally just because of that. That's
Well, I
the
mean,
only reason.
That's what the sideboard is for, though, is those
Exactly.
matchups that you might not be ready for.
Exactly, right? And that's the only reason it's there. I've never once used that card. Every other card in my sideboard, in my main board, I've used it multiple times. I've used everything in my whole deck except that one card, and that is the only card I might consider cutting for Hunt, because Hunt will still be used a lot more, because there's not a lot of hatch players these days anyways, but that's
You
it.
never know. Like, you never
You
know
never
when you
know.
go to a regional.
That's really all there is to it. It's just for that shit. Like that one weird matchup where I know right off the bat it's gonna take 20 fucking years to go through like one game. And having a second copy of my leader's activate main is the difference between winning and losing. Like if I can get out 3 Gokus on board, I don't give a fuck who you are, you're fucking losing.
Yeah.
Like
And that's
easy.
why when I decided to look at representatives of U7, I realized this is a lot more useful than the Champa that I would put in there.
Yep. Even though
Because-
Champa is generally more useful,
Yeah,
but
but
like
I mean,
you don't need it.
a second activation of my leader's active main. That's fucking amazing.
It's
or-
cracked out.
Or if I need to search for something, there you go.
Yeah.
Like,
It's still going to be good against blue. Like you could totally side that card in against blue matchups just for the fact that you can literally use it to grab Divine Presence if you need it.
Yeah.
Like that alone makes it worth it.
I'm surprised that the Divine Presents are going down in price a little bit.
It's because the other shit just does it better, and it's only good against blue, green, and black decks that rely on the Kai negate. If the black decks have petrification, it doesn't matter. But like, it's really only for those cards, right? It doesn't do anything against yellow, because yellow just be like, "Hi, you played that on your turn? Yeah, let me just rest it with Power of a Super Saiyan, the Super Combo. Let me just Final Flash it. Let me Realm of Gods rest it, Poutine it. There's 5 zillion fucking ways to rest that card in yellow, which is still one of the strongest fucking colors, so they don't give a shit. And Red's just like, oh, you played a Divine Presence? Bitch, I'm just gonna neg its power. It doesn't even fucking matter. Like, so like the 2 most popular colors, just deal with it like it's fucking nothing. So why bother?
All right, Charles, Element. Before we go, anything to say to newer players?
So if you're brand new to TCGs in general, it's kind of a little bit different. But if you're coming from another TCG like Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh or anything like that, find like your niche. Like find what you like to play in regards to your play style. So whether you're a control player, aggro player, combo type decks, whatever you want to call it. Find that in regards to Dragon Ball, and then find a leader that kind of fits that category, and just stick with that one thing while you learn. Don't sit there and try to net deck a meta deck and try to sit there and, you know, play like the hottest deck that just won Nats. Because those are the people that put in like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours more a week than you've ever played the game at all. So for me, brand new coming into this game, I mean, I've been playing since the Tournament of Power set came out, and I'm still like maybe top 100 at a nationals, like maybe, and like I'm still comboing and misplaying and not doing things properly, like swinging with a 20k when your opponent's unawakened compared to swinging with your low 10ks, and then once they awaken, once you force the awaken, then swinging with the 15 and 20ks. Like, I still have to remember to do that, and I still get tunnel vision a lot. So find a character you like, find a type of deck that you like to play, like the type of mechanics that it has, and just find a deck on the internet that fits those. Talk to a lot of people in the community, and just go with that, and only go with that. And 100% stick with one color. God, please, if you're buying into the game, stick with one color. Don't try to build a blue deck and a yellow deck and a green deck and a red deck all at once. Because I promise you, if you're married, your wife's going to divorce you. If you're not married, you're never going to get a wife because you can't afford the ring because you're going to buy too many cards. I think that's about it.
That's pretty spot on. Damn.
I mean, if
There-
you're new to the game, yeah, that makes sense. But I mean, if you're a returning player, stick with what you know. Don't try and overextend yourself.
All right, so we're gonna do a little video proof of what I said means something, and that I'm speaking from experience. So all of that, these are all just boxes of cards that are in my office that are just, those are all cards. That's all cards and sleeves. Like I have a problem, and I'm fine. And I'm finally getting it to the point where, all right, I have all the green staples. I have all the yellow staples. Once I buy all the staples of each color, that's it. I'm going to find a deck that I like playing of each one, and that's it. And then when something new comes out after testing, I might buy into it. I might not, but at least I have all the important, expensive cards.
So that's another important fact. Grab the staples for your color more than anything.
Yeah, like don't get hyped up if a new set comes out, like say this coming up set, for instance, right? And you
Just
really
wait.
like GT and you want to play GT. Wait for the set to be out for probably like 3 or 4 weeks. Wait for the hype prices to go down, and then buy the deck. You don't need it max rarity right off the rip.
Yeah, don't be like Charles.
Don't be like me and max rarity out things on pre-release weekend and
'Cause the
spend
shit gets
$250 on
reprinted.
this Mira secret rare when
That's
it's
now
actually
like
like
50
$50
bucks.
on TCG Player. So don't do that. But at least I got it, so I'm happy that I was able to get it on release day. So GG's for me.
I mean, you got to win with
Um,
that fucking thing the other day.
I did. I clapped some cheeks with that the other day. But yeah.
Yeah, on my end, honestly, I think one of the most critical part is understanding at what line of player are you? Are you going to be a casual player, or are you striving to be a competitive player? If you're a casual player, play for fun, play whatever you feel like fills you with joy and gets you back into the game and gets you excited for things, but also manage expectations. If you're a player that is solely here for the big money and really wants to put in the work to be a top competitive player, grab the rule book and read every single page 4 times for a week.
I mean, even if it's not the rule book, you can fucking find it online.
Listen, I cannot stress this enough. You have no idea how many times you have been robbed from a game because you were not aware of an interaction or you were not aware of a ruling. that
Yep.
makes a big, big, big difference.
I mean, we're not telling you to be a rule shark. Just know the basics of the game.
Knows the basics of the game. Know the
Understand
basics of the games.
interactions. Understand if somebody plays a battle card with a skill that you have 2 counter windows and you can activate 2 different counters in both of those counter windows.
And I think that will really get your level to a more competitive standpoint, because once you understand the basics and the interactions, then it's when the creative aspect blends in with the passion of playing the game. Right now, I have a fundamental understanding of what and how things work. Let me grab this pool of cards and see how I can make these interactions work. And that's how most of the top players practice. They just build a deck, try it out for hours and hours and hours, days, and then scrap the whole thing, throw it away, and make a new one. Because that's how you improve.
I mean, if you're gonna get into the game, start off with casual. Like a casual deck will run you like $50 max.
Yeah,
And
you
that's
go super casual, yeah.
Listen, the best casual decks right now is SS4 Bardock, Prismatic. It
Yeah.
shows every aspect of the game and the fundamentals of how to play unisons, how super combo works, how limited card works, how counter attacks and counter plays,
Yep.
interaction with multicolored cards. I think it's a very, very cheap and fun deck to start with.
Yeah.
Also very good. Also, this
yeah.
fucker here got fucking first place with a regional with it. You?
So I did.
Yeah, yeah.
When the deck came out, a lot of people weren't very happy with it.
And it was still like a $50 deck back then, and this guy still fucking did it. Just saying.
I did have the Samasu, the Eliminator pre errata, so I was
Yeah.
actually hitting unisons, and that's one of the biggest aspects of decks and how they change with time. This deck I got first place in a regional because one of the worst mashups back then was blue, and you could hit that blue unison on 4, get them tapped out, and pressure them on your 5. And from that, it's very difficult to recover because if you have a second Samasu, they're not going to be able to do anything, right? So that was a key aspect of that. And now the deck doesn't have that safety net, and it has fallen a little bit. I wouldn't say it's a bad deck. It definitely has won recent regionals too. So it's still doing things. It's just a matter of understanding the fundamentals.
Yep.
But
What it comes down to.
that's
with
honestly
anything
all
now.
the game is just learning the fundamentals.
Mhm. Another big. Here's my advice to new players: don't be afraid to call judge, please.
Oh my god.
Don't be afraid to call judge. They're
Raise your
here to
hand,
help
call
you.
a judge. You don't understand anything, call a judge. If you think
But
something just doesn't sound right, call a judge. Please.
there's no harm in it. Like
And
if
that's
you're
coming from a judge that judged last year's 2001 Nats. Please, God, call a judge.
like it's super important. Like even me, like literally like the last big tournament I played in, which was like Game Fest, one of my opponents legitimately cheated. I had it on camera, I recorded it, and I was still so stupid to not call judge. I still didn't call like think about it. Like my opponents legitimately cheated and I had proof and I still didn't call judge because I'm a fucking idiot. Like call judge no matter whether it's because your opponent's being malicious or they're not being malicious. If you're not sure of something, they're here to help you. And if your opponent's trying to be a sleazebag cheating motherfucker, call judge. Get their ass fucking DQ'd on the spot. Because if you try to call judge after the fact, it's too fucking late. It's your word against his. Even if you have the recording, well, sorry, buddy. Now you fucking fucked up the whole standings of everything. Everything, like, now when you're in a tournament, especially when you're in the middle of, like, brackets, you fucked all the brackets then. They can't do anything. They have to let the guy keep going. Like, they just give him a warning or something. If he does it again, then it gets fucking cut, right?
Yep.
Like, don't be afraid to call judge. They're here to help you. I learned this the fucking hard way. Like I literally got fucking fucked out of like good fucking prizing for a good fucking tournament because I didn't fucking do it. And it's not the first time it's even happened to me. And I still am a fucking dumbass. Don't be like me. Don't hesitate to call a judge when it's like appropriate. Like obviously don't be a rule shark. Like no one likes a rule shark. But like ask them, why is this like that? And if it doesn't and if they don't mind, ask them, where can you find this in the rule book for later reference, or where can you read up on this for yourself down the road? It doesn't hurt to know the rules. It's
Nope.
very
I mean,
beneficial.
You can always message me on Facebook too. I take random PMs all the time. I mean, I'm not gonna answer you when I'm sleeping, obviously, but you're more than welcome to PM me. I have people from Europe messaging me, "Hey, buddy, what's this?" I was like, "Dude, you gotta reiterate and do the best English you could possibly do, my man, because I didn't understand a word you just said."
So one thing also is be courteous of your opponents. You never know. Like, I'm not saying throw a match, just try and be like slow down a bit, because it has happened to me before where say your opponent has anxiety or some shit, they'll be playing fast, and you'll just be like, dude, you're playing dirty. I've had that before, and
Yeah.
it sucks because if you're playing against someone that has like some sort of mental health issue, it can really put them down and make them doubt themselves as a player.
Yeah.
And first of all, when it comes to card games, it may be competitive, but it's also about building communities.
Yeah, that's a big thing too.
Oh yeah.
So don't burn bridges with people. Don't be an ass. Just try and be friendly.
Yeah.
Be good to everyone, and if you're a fucking cheater, go fuck yourself. That's really all there is
I
to
mean,
it.
literally, I met Charles fucking 2 years ago at a fucking locals, and I'm still
Yep.
friends with this motherfucker.
Yeah, right? Imagine that. Being friends with me.
I didn't mean it like that, you fuck.
It's all good.
So community is important always.
Yeah.
And also, community, be wary of the hive mind when you're like on Facebook groups. Like, everyone's has their own opinion, but there's also is like the collective opinion, and that's not always necessarily the correct thing. People are always very quick to write things off as jank or bad or trash when it's like the collective hive mind because it's it to say it. It's cool to say it, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
always look at everything in any card game, in anything, honestly, not just card games, anything. Always look at it in a vacuum. Look at it objectively, right? Don't try to be super opinionated on everything. Look at everything, pros and cons, always, right? And that's how you can gauge if a deck's worth running, if a card's worth running, if something's worth buying into, if something's not worth buying into, right? Always be objective about everything and avoid the hive mind. The hive mind is funny. It's nice to get in and have a little fun. Not gonna lie, but always be objective and like maintain your own identity in anything. In all honesty, because your voice does matter. If you just keep echoing everyone else's voice, you're not. That's not you.
Yeah. I
But
agree.
honestly, another one that you need to watch out for newer players is if you have a group of friends, make a team. You can bounce ideas off of each other. Hell, even start creating content together. I mean, for a while, my team had a channel, even if I was halfway across the U.S. Charles did a shitload of videos with us.
Yep. Yeah, we did a lot of deck lists over at locals, I believe.
Most of them were
Frieza
fucking
swap
Frieza.
lists.
Most of them were
Prison.
Frieza,
Most of them were Frieza.
because that's what Charles is about.
Yeah.
But I mean, just try and have a good time. That's the main point of these games, is having a good time. It's a hobby. It's not meant to overstress yourself or have a bad time. It's about having fun.
True.
And a lot of people
Very true.
don't seem to understand that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree. Good talk.
Yeah, I mean, I recorded it, so it's somewhat going to become a little podcast.
Why not?
I mean, might as well.
I gotta eat dinner, so
All
I'm
right,
gonna call it.
so for anybody who's following, I'm going to be posting this on my YouTube channel. I'm going to be tagging Charles's YouTube, where he does games, deck profiles, and I'll also be tagging his Twitch and affiliate websites of Charles's team. All right,
Appreciate you.
Sexiness.
have a good one.
Yes, sir.